Welcome to New Comic Book Wednesday, everybody. It might just be the absolute last Comic Book Wednesday that we see for some time. These are books that I wound up picking up just yesterday. Because Diamond told us, well, we're probably not going to be seeing anything else after April 1st. So, as a result, I have to make sure that you have a good little reading pile for the next couple days, right, everybody? I'd like to thank anybody that's already shown up in the chat. The music you're listening to is Alpha 9, Dreams. This is from our Juna Beats. This is your tune of the week. And hopefully you were able to throw maybe a couple dollars here and there to some comic book shops. Maybe the one you go to every week. Hopefully the one you go to every week. The last thing I wound up picking up is right here on the right. And I know a certain Ricky Ricardo Rodriguez Vacas is more than happy to get one of these himself. So we're going to go ahead and lower the music. This might be the final new comic book day, just as we see right here. So, how about we go ahead and join up with the rest of the cast and crew? Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Wurst, and welcome to Not Near Mint. The music you were just listening to is Alpha 9, Dreams. So, this is a show that is 18 and over. It's for comic books. Last week was a bit depressing because, well, most of the country went on lockdown. I'm pretty sure a good portion of you are on lockdown yourself. So we're going to try and not think about that too much. Won't even talk about the new comics so much. As you might see in the background, that the What's in the Briefcase, you already saw it. We're going to try and skip on and move ahead and look towards the future. Speaking of looking towards the future, I'd like to join the rest of our Not Near Mint cast. Welcome, Mindshift.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mindshift, aka Comics on the Mind. And you already know, if you're here, you got comics on the mind. What's up, y'all?
Hells yeah. Good to see you. We're going to throw up that here. Comics on the Mind is Mindshift on Instagram. Go sub them up if you haven't already. Next up, we have the one, the only, Miracleman.
Hey, everybody. How you doing tonight?
What's up, Miracleman?
Oh,
And
not
for those
much.
that don't know, he's Kimota1977 on Twitter.
Well, I will be again.
What happened?
Yeah, I am indeed. Komodo1977 on Twitter. I'm on a little bit of we'll call it a vacation, a temporary reprieve from the daily Twitter life, the slog and the grind. But I'll be back there very soon.
Well, that's good to hear, because that's how I first knew you. And if you're not on Twitter, Twitter is a much less place without you, brother.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, my friend. I did some sneak browsing to see what Aaron posted because I was getting some withdrawals.
For that, at least he posts about the same thing on Instagram. So, oh wait, no, you're not on Instagram.
No, sir, I'm not. I know everybody's telling me get on the gram, man.
He's only on the Twitters, people. So go and sub him up on Twitter if you haven't already. And we have also the one, the only. She is my favorite comic book YouTube person in the world. Her name is Lady Fantastic.
Hello, lady.
The Royal Shake. Hello, hello. Hope you gentlemen are doing well. Hope the only Coronas you got are the Crowned or the beer.
You
Nice.
said you had a case of Corona, and I'm going, oh my God, you're sick. No, you just had a case of beer.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. What you said.
So, over the course of the last week, I know everyone's life has been, well, interesting to say the least.
Tell me about
But
it.
I don't know, going around the room, did anybody wind up getting any comic books over the last week? Were you secluded? or were you able to run free enough to go to the store to get stuff and maybe even hit the comic shop?
Well, I hit the LCS today, and I think I've been to the grocery store about 3 times as often as normal in the last 2 weeks for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because every time I go, they have about half the stuff I need. But yeah, I was able to pick up some books today. How about Kurt, Lady? Were you guys able to pick them up?
I actually did not pick up any books today, but I spent the better part of this last hour putting together my Biggie Shaq 50 top 50 bangers or whatever you want to call it.
Bangers.
Yeah, and yeah. So that's what I've been doing, but no, nothing new.
Comics on Mind?
No, I did not have a new comic book day today. My shop closed last Monday, so they were doing deliveries, but they cut that off and said that they're going to go strictly to online. So, yeah, no books for me. I don't know if I showed them on this channel but I did buy these from my homie. Some cool, fantastic 4 books.
Those are nice. Those are old.
Dude.
I got that one. Michael Turner, shut up.
Yeah, I got that one autographed by Paul Pelletier.
Oh, you lucky son of a gun. Look at that Ben Grimm. And then some good old He-Man. He threw that in too. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Sweet.
The Star Run. Those are tough, man.
The Thing, it's one of my favorite solo runs by Mr. Grimm.
What number was that one?
This is like 17, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, 17.
Very pretty.
And are y'all ready for some good ones?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh, hell yeah.
I got it because of Sandman. I love Sandman. Sometimes he's a good guy, sometimes he's a bad guy, sometimes he's just Sandman. Then I got this good old. I love the Scrolls, so I've been wanting this cover for a long time, and I got it. And then some more. You can tell I love me some Ben Grimm, so got me some more Ben Grimm right here.
Very nice, very nice.
And there is one more. I think it's actually in my top 50 pile, so you have to stay tuned for that one.
Well, in that case, so I guess. Oh, I thought you said the Miracleman that you got new books this week.
I did pick up a couple. I got the Immortal Hulk that came out today.
31 or 33?
30-something. 33, I think it is.
Issue 750. Issue
That one's
33.
not it. Is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's the variant cover. That's the Spider-Woman cover.
Okay.
Old school. That looks like Peter David style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That era, sorry.
I can't. I struggle picking up the variants on Hulk because I really dig Ross.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, I've been a huge Ross fan since the early '90s. I mean, I
just
got
show it real quick, but Alex Ross, this was the cover this week.
Oh,
And looking at the
Oh
variants,
my goodness, that's so
Look
this
at
is
it.
good. But going back to what Miracleman has on the screen there, I actually think that the variance this week was an improvement over the Alex Ross. I know that might be a controversial opinion, but if you even take a look at the Joe Bennett artwork that was the homage to Incredible Hulk 1, even that was an amazing piece of art. And this just seemed, I don't know, I'm not going to say like he phoned it in because he didn't. It's really nice.
right.
But
It's
I like
not-
what
I'm
Miracleman
still
has.
going to get it.
Yeah, it's nice. I used to. I was a sucker for the longest time, and I would do those 2 covers, and I just don't do it anymore. If you like it, I'm not calling you a sucker, but I
Yeah,
wasn't.
you are.
I am not.
I'm not.
I kind of did. That's my bad. That's not what I intended to say. I felt like a sucker because I didn't, after a little while, I was like, I could be buying 2 comics, 2 different comics. Why am I buying 2 different covers on the
Yeah.
same book? And that's just how I felt about it. I did it with the Dreamwave Transformers line, man. I bought every double cover. They had a Decepticon and an Autobot cover for every
Oh,
book,
shit. That's cool.
and it was so cool. But then I got Tarot here. which is a Jim Ballant book. If y'all are looking, if you can't go into your comic shop to get your fix, Jim Ballant is doing a Kickstarter right now for a trade of the first 5 issues of Tarot, fully funded in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And this wasn't no $3,000. Like this was, I want to say it was like $20,000, and he nailed it. And like,
wow.
Just so quick. I think he's got the 4th stretch goal already unlocked. And Ballant did Catwoman in the 90s, did Lady Death. He did, he did so much stuff. I was reading these Evil Ernies, and in the center of every one of them is a Lady Death pullout, and half of them were Jim Ballant. As you can see, he draws them, bucks them. Then this is a great book, though, man. Like there's a lot of boobies, but the book is great. The story's fun. It's really enjoyable. I highly recommend it. There will be nudity, boys and girls, so make sure you're over the age of 18. But if you can't get your fix, go back to Kickstarter right now, man. It's worth it. I got a second print of the first issue. Starts right off, a really fun story, just gets right into it. Next up, I got Protector here, 3rd issue of the series. This is some funky art, man, but I'm really digging it. Reminds me of Prophet. It's all in the future, but society has regressed, but they've still got some of the tools of like this hyper, of this super science is how we would see it. It's a funky book, man. X-Men 9. Hickman.
Oh, man.
Beautiful cover, right?
I know.
Oh, yeah.
Badass cover.
I know.
I like it. Giant size X-Men Nightcrawler came out. Grab that one. Suicide Squad 4 came out. I like Suicide Squad when it is a meat grinder. And I
kill somebody every 3 issues.
Dude, if you're going 3 issues, you probably lost me. All right, you need to be killing second-tier supervillains nonstop. Now that Rebirth has happened, you can pull any second-tier villain out of the history of DC and just throw them in there and just tear them apart, and it doesn't matter. We'll be able to work with it. Just keep doing that. They created a new team to kind of fold into the squad, so I expect that to be the cannon fodder team. And then Legion of Superheroes 5 gives you a little bit of the reasons why they went in the past and brought Superboy into the future. So that's kind of cool.
It had to be the teenage Superboy, not the Superboy that we knew and loved from about 2 years ago.
Right. Right. Hey, we get Connor back in Young Justice, man. We got to take it where we can get it. You know what I mean? And then last but not least, Zdarsky. This is Sex Criminals number 28. This is the adult variant cover, and normally I can't show you that cover, but I was like, all right, this one's innocuous enough. But on they always put something funky on the back covers, and for this one it says, "Those aren't the good kinds of tentacles, kids." So
there's really no good tentacles if you've watched any hentai ever.
No. You could be watching. I've noticed that about those types of films, and I say nothing negative about them. Forever enjoys them. But you could be watching one, you'd be like, oh, this is a really nice story. It seems like this young man's found a nice young girl, and maybe they're going to start to go out. I wonder where this is going. Oh my God, where do these tentacles come from? They come right out of nowhere, man.
Oh, high school's coming right back.
Oh boy.
That's about it for the new stuff. That's about it for oh wait, no, I don't know, was this new this week? Batman Superman 8. I have a little pile at the shop. I'm kind of
I just read 7.
What's that?
That is new. I just read 7. That came out.
Okay. All right. So Ra's al Ghul teaming up with General Zod, Batman, Superman, Kandor in there. I don't know where this is going. I was reading it because it was a tie-in to the Batman Who Laughs, You're the Villain, whatever. And
did you have a chance to read Hellerism 4?
I read it.
And does it tie into what's going on with Batman Superman right now? Because I even missed 7. I thought I had it.
Oh. No, this has moved on to a new storyline. I think it was at the end of 6, maybe the end of 5. They kind of just jump ahead. They're like, all right, all that's been dealt with. Now we're on to a new story. Which could take place in the course of a day, in comic book time and be 6 issues long. But this is not tied into that. This is its own standalone alone story at this point. I like Darrington so much. Like that'll carry a book for me for a while. And it's not that the writing's bad. The stories have been great, but I love the look of the book. I don't know if I'm going to keep it up because I don't know. It's kind of fallen towards the bottom of the read pile every month. But that's it for the new stuff, guys.
Yep, and you saw all my stuff at the very beginning of the show. I'm not going to run through it all over again because anybody that wants to watch it, it was the first 3 minutes and it was set to music. Don't know if the music worked this time because it seems every time I try that at the beginning of the episode, it doesn't quite work. So I am going to be working on a animated intro to this show, hopefully that I can premiere in the next episode. Hopefully there will be a next episode, despite the fact there's no new comic book day next week or the week after.
It'll be new comic book day in our hearts, guys.
Yeah, I kind of share your sentiment when you said earlier in the week, if everything jumps on over to digital, I tap out. I'm out.
Yeah. I'm not going. I can't give up the print comics, man. I don't think we'll lose print comics entirely, but I think there's going to be some shifts here, some unexpected shifts. We might get a real contender against Diamond. I think all those exclusivity contracts are up from the 90s.
And everything would be in somewhat of a violation of contract. I don't know if that's something that Mr. Rodriguez Vacas could pretty much answer for us, but there's a lot of contracts that would be in violation right now just because, sure, there's an order in place, but so is a contract.
Right. And, for those of you who aren't familiar, Diamond closing today and essentially putting a pause on the comic book industry as we've come to know it is the direct result of a Marvel acquisition in the 90s. So once upon a time, there were 3 different, there were many more, but in the 90s, there were 3 different distributors. There was Diamond, Capital, and one other. I can't remember the name of it. And Marvel bought one of the distributors and said, this is going to be the exclusive distributor for Marvel Comics. You're only going to be able to get them through this. And it was actually it was a pretty gutsy move, but it also really hurt a lot of retailers because they were losing their volume discounting because they were able to order everything through one distributor. Now they couldn't. And what happened was this kind of forced the other comic companies to line up with another distributor and sign exclusivity contracts. And that distributor was Diamond. And Marvel found out very quickly that the company they bought, and I can't remember if it was Capital or the other one, I think it was Capital. The company they bought was literally in shambles. They had, invoices that hadn't been paid in months. Their inventory was all messed up. And so essentially they had to close it down and ended up having to sign an exclusive contract with Diamond. So thanks to that bungled acquisition in the 90s, we will not have any comics next Wednesday, boys and girls. Sorry, I didn't mean to get negative. Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Have a good idea.
Hey, do you guys want to show 10 books at a time?
Yeah,
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But real quick, I'm just going to blow myself up for 1 second. I do have an idea. There is a way that I think that going forward, we can keep the print media going if people take my word for this. Say that whatever issue we're currently on anything, I'm just going to pick this at random. Oh, this doesn't work. It's an issue 1. Okay, here we go. So, Amazing Spider-Man is on issue number 42 this week, and they ship usually about once a month. Sometimes the DC books are twice a month. Keep doing everything digitally. Release it all in one giant trade paperback. I know that Miracleman has talked about this in the past, that there were books called Fem-Force where they were $10 a pop. People have been in the past willing to pay $10, even $15 for a single edition if you call it issue 43. Or you could go from issue 42 to 44 and call it the Lost Year issue. And you can keep the print medium going. We'd be willing to accept it. This is something I was talking about with several people, not just in the community, but at the comic book shop. I want to see the community keep going. I want to see new comic books come out. I don't want yesterday to be the last new comic book day ever. And I don't think it will be. And we just have to keep that hope up. So moving along with the rest of the show, how about we get to, I don't know, the top 50 in our collections. Does anybody want to go first?
So he first. I'll go first, but I also want to say, like, I saw something Biggie Shaq posted in his Instagram, and he said something about, like, I have some new good books, and I just want to show, like, 50 fresh, like, bangers or something like that. You know what I mean? And I was thinking, like, that's true. Like, everybody will, have 50 books, but that always changes, doesn't it? Then time is the factor that changes it. So the 50 books that I picked today might not necessarily be the 50 books that I pick tomorrow. So anyways, I'm going to just show you, like, the first 10 in no particular order, but 50 books that I think are bangers for whatever reason. This is the first appearance of Apocalypse. This is X Factor number 6. Yeah.
Nice.
Walt and Louise Simonson just fucking killing it on this series. Loved it.
That almost made it into my
The Thing, number 6.
Yes.
Bim Grimm's a cool dude, man. So, yeah. I just love this piece. For some reason, it just kills me. This, Eastside Ribbage on Black Panther and Captain America. Going at it.
Nice.
Like, variant cover, just beautiful. It's a banger. This is Herb Trimpe on Hulk. Man. Man. And this is the one with Ant-Man in it.
Nice.
Love me some Ant-Man.
Yeah, Incredible Hulk. Hell is a very small Hulk. Yeah, so there we go. Then another one. Oh, God. Hulk 250. I will always show this book.
Gorgeous.
I always think, if this book is just makes me want to faint. It's just great. Here's another one. This is first Thunderbolts. So, first appearance of Thunderbolt. What I think is 449. Yep.
Oh, that's a really great cover.
Nice.
Yeah. And gonna go if you want to talk Surfer. This John Byrne Silver Surfer. It's a great one shot.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yes.
Gorgeous.
Great book. We also have the Moebius, of course.
Nice.
It's another beautiful one. And then, Silver Surfer 100. This is it's a banger, man. I like that. It's too much for me. And number 10 is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur number 1.
Oh, yes. That's on my hunt list.
Yep.
Nice.
Mr. Gretzky, or whoever said that the Hulk 250 is underappreciated, I am so with you there. You are preaching to the choir. Great book. One of the best. All right. Next 10 for the next person.
All right. First, I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat that's already here. Take the Time Collectibles. That's Brian over at Phil's Comic Shop. When people always watch the very beginning of the show, you'll usually notice some cards at the very beginning. That's Phil's Comic Shop, and that's the shop that I always recommend people to go to in Broward when it is open or when it reopens after this. Also in the chat, read more comics. Good to see you, brother. Comics on the Mind. He's also with us, along with Lady Fantastic. We also have, let's see here, Discovery Bay. Thank you, man, for joining.
JP.
We also have Ricky Ricardo Rodriguez Vacas. He was on the show last week, on the show. So that was awesome. Michael Guevara, I don't recognize seeing you in here before, so I'm glad to have you joining us for the first time. Mr. Gretzky, love you, bro. Thank you so much for coming. Is Biggie Shaq coming? I did ask him. He said he would try, but I do understand that, he has a family, he has things.
He's got like a wife and kids, so.
Yeah.
What is that?
Little Shaq.
He's got little baby Shaq and Melody, so
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. He has real issues to take care of.
He's got a fucking family and shit.
Yeah, not these issues. He has real issues to take care
real
of.
for real.
Mm-hmm.
He has to adult.
Ugh.
What is that?
I
All
took too much today. I didn't like it.
So, mind if I go next?
Go right ahead.
All right. So I'm just going to throw up a couple of. I realized after going through this, I was really DC heavy, but
You said that. You said you were.
But you know what? That's accurate for me. So I'm just going to throw up a couple real quick. Some of these are going to be some books that I'm sure everybody is very familiar with. Others, maybe not so much.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I bought this book off the newsstand when it came out, and this concept of this is the first Superboy of Earth Prime. Becomes a much more important character in the last 15 years or so. He basically had this appearance and I think issue 11 and 12 of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and that was it until Infinite Crisis in 05, 04, whatever that was. This is just a great story. It's right near the end of the DC Comics Presents line. One of my favorite stories of all time. The cover's cool. Although it's not the first time a Superman has met Superboy, it's the first time this Superman met this Superboy. Untold Origin of the Justice Society.
Oh, god damn. Look at that.
Beauty, isn't she?
What number?
DC Special number 29.
Oh.
This book explains a very important piece of JSA lore, and that's how did they keep the superheroes out of Germany during World War II. And it was because Hitler had retrieved the Spear of Destiny, which was the spear which was the spear used to kill Jesus Christ on the cross.
Okay,
why not? 29? Special 29, Untold Origin 29.
Yeah, DC Special number 29 is the actual title. Listen, if y'all don't have that book, get that book. Fantastic book.
I don't know. I gotta get this.
Super important for JSA if you have any interest there.
That's great. That's great art right there.
DC Superstars presents number 17. This is the first appearance of the Huntress.
Yeah.
This is the original Helena Wayne version of Earth 2. Mom and Dad were Batman and Catwoman of Earth 2. And
this was before Huntress 1.
What's that?
Was this before the Huntress issue 1?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Many years. Yes. So when Huntress first appeared here, then she appears in, I want to say, as a Wonder Woman backup for a while. She shows up in the All-Star run. No. She shows up in the All-Star run first. The All-Star Comics, that's the relaunch of the Bronze Era. The All-Star Comics book end, and she starts getting her story, it then goes into Adventure Comics. There's like 5-6 issues of the giant size Adventure Comics, which are horrible. They're really bad. The JSA stories are really, really bad at them. But it's where Batman of Earth 2 dies. And I actually have that book. It's probably one of the worst Batman stories I've ever read. It's putrid. The cover's great. It shows Batman in a coffin and everybody crying. So it looks cool. But it's a horrible story. But after that, she ends up getting multiple backups in Wonder Woman, which I've been trying to put together. She even runs into the Earth 2 Joker. Like, it's so much Earth 2 awesome from the pre-Crisis era. You know what I mean? It's cool after cool after cool. How many was that? 3? I'm like yapping my ears off. 3 books. DC Challenge. So everybody here familiar with DC Challenge? You know this book?
Nope.
Oh, okay. This is the greatest mistake in DC editorial history. So every issue has a different creative team. First one, Mark Evanier, Gene Colan, Bob Smith, titans of the industry. Okay. And they had every one of their top guns working on this. Infantino was on it. It's 85. This was a direct market only series. Those 12-issue maxi series was going on same time as Crisis on Infinite Earths. Here's the hook. You could use any character in the DC universe, and you had to write the whole story, and then you end it and leave it to the next team to figure out how the story continues. So every single issue of the 12 issues, they ended their story and they left it to the next team to figure out how to continue the story. There was no plot. There was no script. They did 12 issues, just basically throwing everything at the wall, every single issue. If you can find that, man, that's absolutely worth a pickup. It'll probably be in like a quarter bin. It's really, really bad, but it's a lot of fun for the era.
You like it for the history.
Oh my God, I loved it. I bought these books for my first LCS ever. It's a shop that no longer exists. I remember I bought them in a brick pack. He's selling them all together. And I was so excited to get home and read it, and I didn't understand why the story was so difficult to follow. Because I was like 8.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was bad. Secret Six #1, Gail Simone. Man, if you didn't read the Secret Six series from Simone, you missed like the best DC series of the era. It was just phenomenal. Every single issue was just phenomenal. Loved it. Miss it. That's the DC that is 100% my DC right there.
Oh yes.
Giffen and DeMatteis,
Yeah.
McGuire and Austin, Justice League #1.
It's a great run.
It's just probably the greatest Justice League run in the history of Justice League, even better than the original.
And I'm not even a big DC fan. I bought that book.
I love it. I have like 5 copies of this one, man.
Nice.
It's an iconic cover. It's just so good. Here's another one. Maybe not everybody knows. This is Action Comics #484. This is the marriage of the Earth 2 Superman and Lois.
Huh.
So you see down here they are flying away from the Daily Star, which is where they worked at on Earth 2, not the Daily Planet.
Mm.
And this, and they have to tell you here, this is this Superman getting married. So there's that one, and that one, honestly, if you like DC lore at all, that is a fantastic book to get. They're cheap, a couple of bucks, but one of the most important things to happen to DC of the time. This will be the last one I show before we flip it. Crisis on Infinite Earths #1.
Another great book.
This is the book that turned me from a comic reader to a comic fan, fanatic, whatever. Crisis on Infinite Earths didn't just introduce. Let me back it up. Crisis on Infinite Earths. Prior to that, nobody did anything like Crisis did. And since Crisis on Infinite Earths, most companies have destroyed their world, put it back together, reimagined it, merged multiple concepts into one universe. Crisis did that first and did it to 50 years of DC history. And they pushed it all right into one cohesive universe. And not only that, but they introduced new characters that the company had acquired. The Charlton heroes were introduced in Crisis. They introduced tons of new characters. Some of them they just killed right away. And they cleaned up everything with this series. And to this day is hands down, in my mind, the greatest comic ever written. Anyway, I think that's like 10.
All right. Fair enough. Anybody, Kirk, do you want to go next?
Sure, why not?
Show us what you got.
What do I got? I got a tearjerker for you. Boom! Demon in a Bottle.
Oh, yeah.
This was A-OK to me a while ago, like years ago, before I joined YouTube, before I even knew what an A-OK was. Friend of the community sent this to me. I read this story, and man, reading it and hearing about it is not the same. Like, I love this story. Seeing Tony Stark like go through his addiction and trying to give up alcohol, and see him like overpower the bottle. So this was a really good story and a great cover. Next up is probably my only DC in the collection is Black Lightning #1. Great. I love this story. I need to get back on collecting this. And I gotta give it out. Shout out to my people of color, my superheroes of color. Like this is a great book. It's #2. And I found that book that I got earlier in the week, and it is first appearance of him. I was breezing through this earlier today, and it's a really great cover. I love that Ben, backhand Mr. Fantastic. You lost my girlfriend. What's wrong with you? So this is a really good one. And then when the series first started, I did not get the first print, but I was excited to get this one. First print of Immortal Hulk. I love this run, and I'm so happy that it's finally back on track to where I want it to be because I love this series when it first started. So much that I bought the second print. Here's something from out of left field. The Marvelous Land of Oz. I love this the story. And this issue particularly was really great because, he's a king now. The Scarecrow is a king, and he is bored and does not like his job, so he wants some action. I just love this cover. Let's look at him. I'm sitting there, just so bored. And here's some Fantastic Four goodness. Issue number, I believe this is 44. First appearance of Gorgon. I love the Inhumans, so I was so happy to get this book in my collection. And look at him stomping on the ground and opening the earth up. And then here is first appearance of Beta Ray Bill. I am a sucker for tear down the titles in the comics, and I love this one. I really want to get issue number 338 because that cover is even better. And then, of course, there's going to be a lot of Scotty Young. I'm just letting you know. There's going to be a lot of Scotty Young. Here's Venom number 150.
Nice.
And I love this cover. Look at the Venom just, I'm going to eat you, Spider-Man. And, hey, it's signed.
Very nice.
Oh, very cool.
And then last of my 10 is a recent book that I picked up. Not recent, but like in the last couple months. Unnatural. And this was a great story. I really love the story. Love the art. This is really good.
Mirka Andolfo did that. She's doing another book right now for a Blaze called Unsacred.
Sacred, yes, I want to get that. I slept on that budget wise, but
I've been picking it up, and it's it's at first it's kind of like just these random little cartoon strips, but now it's gotten into a much more tighter and cohesive story.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to break you off there.
It's all. I'm done. Like this is.
All right.
My first 10 right there.
Oh.
Go, Robert. Go, Robert. Go.
My turn, I guess.
Mr.
So,
Worst.
I'm going to start off with, of all things, a runner-up. This is my runner-up as number 51 because it's signed by Stan Lee. I've had it since I was a goddamn kid, and it's a newsprint.
That's
and somehow I kept it in super nice condition because I don't think I ever read this particular one. I read the one that I wound up giving away, well, almost damn near given away for the Black Friday auction that Lady Fantastic had quite some time ago.
Back on Black Friday.
Yeah, what day was that on? I can't remember.
Darn.
I'll never forget or remember. No. It was the latter one. Okay, so number 50. This one I've been wanting for a long time. I got this towards the end of last year. It's the first appearance of Bane. Glad that I waited getting this because this thing got really up there, and I think I might only paid $20.
All right.
Watchmen number 1 for number 49 is. I'm not doing this entirely based on story. This is just I have a room full of comic books, and I just looked around the room and said, okay, if I'm putting this into a score, what would it be? This isn't to say anything that's in a box right now might be better. This is just what I saw in front of me this week. Some of these I had forever. Some of these I got a long ass time ago. So number 48, Transmetropolitan number 1 by Warren Ellis, art by Derek Robertson.
Very nice.
Love the covers. The interior's great too, but the story, this has been always one of my all-time favorite comic book series. Another all-time favorite comic book series, Preacher number 1, starting with number 47. Great series. An okay series when it came to the AMC version, but great version of Harris Star.
Oh, yeah.
Why the Last Man, number 46. Signed by Brian K. Vaughan at a MegaCon way back in, probably maybe months after this came out. Lock and Key, number 45. By Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. Because of Wizard, I hopped on this early on, and I'm glad I did because this thing shot up like a cannonball.
Yeah.
But if the next series that comes out from Netflix doesn't happen, it's going to come right back down like a cannonball. But I don't buy these things for their value. I buy them because history, and I love the stories.
Totally agree.
Young Avengers number 1, coming in at number 44.
Nice.
This is Alan Heineberg right after he finished up his run on Wonder Woman. Jim Chung, this guy is a very underrated artist, and I wish he'd do more stuff. This one I know is going to be a favorite of Lady Fantastic. Coming in at number 43.
Sweet.
Defenders number 4. The first appearance of Barbara Morris as.
I love the Defender.
I need that one so badly.
I do too.
Yeah.
This is when I'm telling people that, I guess I am the Casey Kasem of the comic book YouTube.
You got what you want, what you need.
Amazing Spider-Man number 195. The first appearance of the Black Cat, Alicia Hardy.
So
And
nice shade.
Alicia.
last one for me. Coming in at number 41, The Adventures, Amazing Adventures, featuring Beast. This is the first appearance of Furry Beast. Not the first appearance of Blue Beast. Notice that his little loincloth is blue, but the rest of him is gray.
Those are wrestling jorts, I believe.
If you say so.
Beast loves his jorts.
They're tidy blueies. I think that's what they actually are.
So who wants to go next?
I think would be in the next, right?
Lady indeed.
So the next, okay, so here we go. Here is Marvel Superheroes Winter Special. This is the first appearance of Squirrel Girl.
Groovy.
So yeah. What we got? This is Beta Ray Bill God Hunter. Excellent series. It's basically where he gets in a fight with Galactus and kind of gives him a run for his money.
Yes, I need that too. I agree with Cordell.
Spider-Man versus Wolverine. Just a great story and great art. That's a banger to me.
That's a banger.
Captain America, 332.
Nice.
You got all the goodies.
Classic cover. This is one of my favorite. Bill Sienkiewicz, Dazzler number 33. He does a play on the Thriller Michael Jackson album.
Yeah.
Dazzler and Chiller.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. It's so fucking kick ass. It's
Yeah.
Fucking rattle. Oh!
I've been trying to finish the Dazzler run, just so I have that issue. I got to get the whole run. I can't just buy the one. I had to get the whole thing. Comics
on the Mind. What are you talking about? And this?
Nice.
You know what pairs nicely with that? This does. This pairs nicely with that. Yeah. But I also liked the number 200.
Very cool. Very cool.
World. And okay, I just got a couple more. This is the first, Jane, when we first find out it's Jane Foster's Thor.
Nice.
On my list.
Yep. And the last of this is War of the Realms Omega number 1, where we find out Jane Foster is Valkyrie.
Nice.
Yeah.
Series.
That's the next in for me.
All right.
All right. So who wants to go next?
7, 8, 9.
He's counting still.
I was gonna say I'll go next because I think I got these 5 up right here, so I'll be quick this time. I won't be crazy.
We like the history.
So these 5 issues right here are a crossover between Justice League of America and the All-Star Squadron. But it's not just the Justice League and the All-Star Squadron. It's also the Earth 3 Crime Syndicate per Degaton of Earth 2. It has Earth Prime in it, one that ends up getting destroyed and never actually existing. This was the annual crossover, and it went through 5 full issues, 3 Justice League, 2 All-Star Squadrons. First of all, I don't care who you are. When I see these heads on the sides of the books right here, this is, if you've ever been a DC fan, this is DC right here. Perez did most of the covers. Kubert, I think, did the All-Star ones. Yeah, Kubert did the All-Star ones. Justice League books back in the day, all of their crossovers were bordered by the heads, and it was like the roll call, and they would show you all the characters' heads that were going to be in there. And it's just seeing that, man, that makes me feel like a kid again. Just that all by itself, I'll tell you what. Anyway, those 5, if you ever wanted to read one of the DC, JSA, JLA crossovers, these are not really expensive, a lot easier to get than the couple of the next books I'm going to show you. And they're probably the best crossover they ever did. Just so much fun. Not to say their first crossover wasn't fantastic. That's Justice League of America number 21. This is the first time the JSA and the JLA meet. Really classic cover for the Justice League and for DC in general. You know, I bought this off of eBay like 20 years ago. I got this and like 5 or 6 other issues under issue 50 for $20. They weren't that much, not that long ago, man. At least doesn't feel like that long ago. And you're going to see a bunch of Justice League here real fast. Justice League of America number 200. Now, I've shown this one before. And I'll tell you why this one is one of my favorites. First of all, look at this wraparound cover. Look at that beauty.
I love wraparound covers.
Oh, I love wraparound covers.
Yeah.
Too. I love them. This is then now. Second thing, look at the names on this book: Jerry Conway, George Perez, Joe Kubert, Gil Kane, Carmine Infantino, Brett Breeding, Brian Boland, Dick Giordano, Terry Austin, Jim Aparo. It is literally a who's who of the greatest DC contributors of the time period. It is the first full telling of the Justice League's origin. It's done in like the team breaks up. The original team is taken over. You can see they're fighting the newer heroes that were added later, and they're trying to bring back their original villains, the Apelix aliens, who were all these different aliens. Like one was crystal, one was a giant bird, one was made of rock, one was made of fire. And it's their anniversary issue, so you know they went all out. You can see it's a square bound. It's an extra big book. That is just such a fun read, man. You cannot read this book and not love it if you like anything about the Justice League. And my last two that I'm going to show on my round here going to be 2 more Justice League books. First, I'm going to show you number 107 here. Now, this copy's seen better days, but this is the introduction of the quality characters into the DC universe. The quality characters being Phantom Lady, once drawn by somebody you're rather interested in there, Rob. That is the same Phantom Lady drawn by Matt Baker back in the 40s, back in the Golden Age. And quality, you know, the character jumped around between different labels, ended up at Quality. Quality went under. DC bought up their properties and put them all their major heroes into the Freedom Fighters, and introduced them in Justice League of America 107 here with a. They were on Earth X, which was an Earth taken over by the Nazis in World War II. They were the only heroes on their Earth. Originally, there were no Justice League analogs, but in recent revisions, they've made, you know, there was an Overman, an evil Superman, or an evil Flash, Nazi Superman, Nazi Flash. But they didn't have that originally. And the last one I'm going to show, this is one that not a lot of people know about. Justice League of America number 87. This is the first appearance of the DC Universe's version of the Avengers. They're called the Heroes of Angor, and actually were a very big part of the relaunched Justice League series. 3 heroes that were trying to destroy all the nuclear weapons. And Heroes of Angor is a purposeful play on the word, Heroes of Anger, which is what they were saying the Marvel heroes were. And here you see them right here is Quicksilver. There is a Wasp / Ant-Man. There's Thor. And there's the Scarlet Witch.
Wow.
They went by Jack B. Quick, Blue Jay, Wandjina, and Silver Sorceress. Characters that actually showed up in Multiversity. They were one of the sets of heroes that fought in Multiversity. But they showed up in Justice League of America. Justice League. I want to say issue 2 of the relaunch, and were an important part of it. Silver Sorceress and Blue Jay even ended up joining the expanded Justice League International. But basically, they appeared here and then they didn't appear again all the way until 1987. Kind of serendipitous there. Anyway, there's my 10 Justice League books. Comics on the Mind. What you got to show us?
What do I got indeed? Some more Scotty Young goodness. And I went with a variant. These next two are variants, by the way.
Nice.
Just letting you know about the drop a curse word.
Uh-oh.
Paradigm. I love this cover. Way better than the original cover. And look, I love my girl, Gert. She is awesome.
Fairyland was so fun.
I know. I'm still working on it. I'm on issue number 14, I believe.
Oh, man.
It goes up to 18 or something.
Yeah.
Like 20 something. Like 20, I think. Yeah, it goes up to 20. I bought this for my roommate, but he hasn't been reading it, so I'm really tempted to just read ahead. But it's really good.
What is it? I can see it.
Oh, it's a trade.
Oh. Oh, okay. All right. Right on.
But that's not my book. This awesome art germ is my book.
I have that one too.
Yeah,
that's nice.
I love this one. I haven't read the whole story, but I flipped through it while you guys were talking, and I almost teared up. R.I.P. Jane.
It's really good.
And I couldn't just pick one of these Alec Ross goodness, so I just picked them all. Marvel at these marvels.
Mm-hmm.
So here's that issue. This is honestly my favorite cover from the series. Look at Angel. And then shout out to Robert G. Spot, Galvin, some Silver Surfer action.
Loves his Northern Red.
I know, right? And this is my other favorite one.
Oof.
I just love the reflection in Spidey's eye.
Like that.
I know.
Reflection collection.
So good. I don't have the original, but I got Scotty Young's first appearance of Immortal Hulk.
It looks like a pickle to me.
I know. Pickle Rick ain't got nothing on me. I recently got this issue in my collection. I'm working on the Brood run, and I've always wanted this awesome cover of Kitty Pryde. What's up, Kate? R.I.P. And then, of course, Superior Spider-Man goodness had to make it in there. Sorry, Spidey, you're dead. So that's it. I love Superior Spider-Man. You'll hear me talk about it a lot. Like I love stories with a twist, and like Doc Ock was one of my favorite Spider-Man characters. So that was like one of the biggest twists for me. And speaking of wraparound covers, Miracleman. I got a wraparound cover right here.
Nice.
Perez. Yeah. Look at that.
Isn't that Ron Lim?
Is it Lim? Oh, it could be.
Chunk. Believe so. Let me see.
Yeah, Miracleman would buy a Pickle Rick or a Pickle Hulk action figure.
It is a Pickle Hulk.
But I love it because it got my homie.
Hold on, go
Wonder Man. So, and then I think that's my 10 right there.
All right.
I was talking that whole time, and my goddamn microphone was turned off. I had no idea. I was like, "Why are these people
I'm dead. No.
The Infinity War was cool. Sorry, go ahead, man.
I'm done.
We'll continue.
No, I like the Pickle Hulk, man. I would absolutely buy a Pickle Hulk. Like, make an action figure, a pop. You could get me slippers that are Pickle Hulk slippers that I can just slip my mouth right into his giant Pickle Hulk mouth, and I would wear them Marvel, listen, when you come back and you're able to ship books again, if you're watching our show, please listen to me. Make Pickle Hulk.
I hear a Rick and Morty crossover.
Dude, I would watch that crossover.
Definitely watch that shit. All right, so my turn. Let's go ahead and cue up some music.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, you're a nerd. Oh.
So we have Spawn issue 175, the second appearance of the Gunslinger Spawn. This is number 40, followed by Captain Marvel number 17 at number 39. Number 38, Batman 608, the second print. Jim Lee cover. Green Lantern, issue number 87, signed by Martin Odell. This is number 37. Strange Tales, number 180, the first appearance of Gamora. This would be number 36. Marvel premiere, the first appearance of the astonishing Ant-Man. Scott Lang, number 47. This is number 35. Then Wolverine number 1, Frank Miller number 34. Giant Size, Fantastic Four number 4. First, Shaney Maddox. Finally, after number 32 is number 31.
Oh.
First appearance of the Sabretooth in Iron Fist number 14.
Very cool.
Yeah.
This is your QVC late night, not near mint, top 50. Back to you, everybody.
All right. So does it go back to me then?
Do it, lady.
All right. So I'm gonna start. Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing.
So Swamp Thing number 8. Bernie writes in one of my favorite covers due to the contrast of the light and the dark. And it's just so crisp and I love it. And, speaking of Bernie Wrightson, I found this Kong number 1. And if you can see closely, it says for Ed, Bernie Wrightson.
Wow.
That shit.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I thought that was awesome.
That was pretty awesome.
It was awesome.
Detective 500.
I love that issue.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So cool.
Yeah. These are only DCs that I'm going to be showing tonight in this 10, and not even all 10 of them are DCs, so just saying.
Breaking my heart here, girl.
Mr. Miracle number 3. I love Jack Kirby in the DC world. So, Paranoia Pill.
That's a cool cover.
Go ahead.
I just said that's a cool cover.
Thank you. Or thank Mr. Kirby. This is Mr. Miracle number 7. Just another stunning cover, in my personal opinion. With the guy in the background.
Cover.
That's a great cover.
Yeah. And the last of the Kirbys is Mr. Miracle number 9. I absolutely love the cover. Him trying to tear the either. I just love this cover.
Fantastic.
Very
It's
nice.
just a great cover to me, man. Batman 400 Sienkiewicz. It's just great, man.
Oh yes, Sienkiewicz.
I think that's the last pre-crisis Batman story.
This came out in '86, so could be.
Yep. Yeah, it has a forward by Stephen King, right?
Yes, it does.
Yep. That's the last pre-crisis Batman story.
Marvel Spotlight 32, Spider-Woman.
Oh, no, that's an excellent choice.
Yeah, it's a banger.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And we've got Amazing Spider-Man 306. This is Todd McFarlane's kind of homage to Action Comics #1. It's just a beautiful cover. Beautiful homage. It's one that I've always wanted. And finally,
yes, I want that book. That is so beautiful.
Amazing Spider-Man 55. I just love this. It's one of my favorite covers. So,
Great cover.
I'm going to show you some bangers that are at least comics that I think are bangers. Where's yours?
Oh, I guess it's time for other people. I'm over here trying to pull things at the same time.
All right.
Next up is Miracleman.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to show you a little something here. I'm a big fan of the Doom Patrol run. Which one, you might ask?
Yes.
Well, all is the answer. And out of all of them, one of my favorite characters to this day is Mr. Flex Mentallo.
Oh yeah. I'm looking for issues 1 and 3.
I have all 4 of the original issues, and I got them back when they were really tough to come by. Now they're a little bit easier to get since they made the hardcover. Excuse me. This is one of my favorite stories of probably ever. Frank Whitley. It's just a team that everything they do, I absolutely love. They could draw the back of a milk carton and write a story on it, and I would be enthralled by it. And honestly, I never expected them to be able to add that character in a realistic manner in the TV show. And oh man, am I glad I was wrong. They nailed it. That character was fantastic. It was so well done. Fit perfectly in the TV show. I'm so excited for it to come back. And I got some more Doom Patrol to show you later. But this one right here, just Flex Mentallo is definitely a book to read. This is The Lost Girls.
Oh shit.
Now, I'm going to tell you all right now. That is for the hardcover, yes.
Oh.
First hardcover. I got this from a friend I worked with. They knew I wanted this particular book, and they went out and got it for me and gave it to me for Christmas. And at that point in time, it may have been the greatest Christmas present I had ever received.
I'd agree.
Melinda Gebby, Alan Moore. This show's not for kids. You got to be over 18.
Oh yeah.
This is the filthiest high-class smut I've ever read in my life. There is group interaction. There is hetero and homosexual interaction. There is bisexual interaction.
Trisexual?
There's definitely some people in here are willing to try anything. So here, the premise behind this story, if you've never heard of it, this is right before World War I, and Dorothy from Wizard of Oz, Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and what was her name? The big sister in Peter Pan.
Oh,
I know you're talking. Wendy.
Wendy.
Yeah.
Wendy. All 3 of them become or go to this chateau in Austria, and they're all of various ages. Alice is entering senior status. Wendy is middle age, and Dorothy's a young farm girl, and it tells their stories, all of the stories that you and I know as fairy tale and fable, as kind of their sexual awakenings and their actual sex lives. And all the crazy stuff that happened to Alice, that's because she was constantly getting drugged. She was a handmaiden to a wealthy noblewoman who was married to a guy and basically started having an affair with her, and the wealthy woman kept her drugged all the time. That's why she was tripping. That's why she was always seeing all the stuff in Alice in Wonderland. And the Lost Boys in Wendy's story, the Peter Pan story, there were some lost boys who lived in the park, but they were just like orphans and runaways and stuff like that. And Dorothy, well, I'm not even going to tell you about Dorothy, but let's just say everything is super sexual in this book. If you were over the age of 18 or 21, depending on your location, I highly recommend reading. Make sure you put that up. I'm going to go to jail.
Go ahead and open it.
All right. So I'm just going to open a random page and look, there's sex.
I'm surprised. Right off the bat.
Melinda Gebbie is
wow.
This is a Wendy actually and Peter. And most of these people things, and yeah, here we go. Another random page, some more sex. There's Dorothy's defloweration.
Just a reminder, this is Alan Moore, and this is considered actual literature.
Right.
Oh, Alan Moore wrote this?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is an Alan Moore written book. Melinda Gebbie is his wife now. I don't know if they were like, oh God, come on, man. I don't know if they were like government married, but Melinda Gebbie is his wife now. I don't think she was when they started this. They started this series in Kitchen Sink, and one issue came out, or two issues came out, and then they, oh God, and then they stopped. They stopped. It was like dominoes, right? And then they stopped doing them. I don't know what happened, but then he put out a 3-book slipcase edition, hardcover, and I missed that. And then they put this out, and this is the first full collected edition. Honestly, get this book. It's one of the best stories I've ever read. Yes, it's porn, but it's classy porn.
Alan Moore porn.
It's Alan Moore porn.
Considered by a lot of people one of the last great things that Alan Moore wrote.
Yes, I will agree there. As an Alan Moore aficionado, I will 100% agree with that statement.
Because otherwise it was Necronomicon and, that kind of stuff.
Necronomicon, Providence, Fashion Beast, although technically he had written that years prior.
Yeah, it was just finally illustrated.
Right. He did a story in God is Dead, which was, it was halfway decent. And I love Alan Moore. Honestly, I think that's one of the greatest losses in comics is when the big two kind of broke his heart. Yeah, and they broke his heart, man. That's really what happened. Because they did exactly to him what they did to all of his heroes, and it just broke him. Can you imagine how much better the comics world would be if we had Alan Moore banging out big 2 character stories for the last 30 years?
And maybe by the time that comics are printed again, that they'll merge DC and Marvel and put Alan Moore in charge of all of it.
Yeah, Alan's done, man. He doesn't want nothing to do with it anymore.
Yeah, he's gone.
He's been burned. He's Finny. All right, so I'm sorry. Here I am yabbering away. So I'm going to show you a couple that are going to be as sets here. So we'll go through them a little quicker. First up, this is probably one of the best books that I have here that is totally under the radar. And there's 3 of them. Action Comics 591. Actually, I think there's a 4th, and I might have forgotten what it was. Legion of Superheroes 37. And Legion of Superheroes 38. This is explaining this. Okay. This series is post-Crisis on Infinite Earths. Pre-Crisis Infinite Earths, Superman was Superboy, traveled into the future, spent a whole bunch of time as Superboy with the Legion of Superheroes before going back to his own time and becoming a man. Post-Crisis on Infinite Earths, none of that happened. He didn't become Superman until he was an adult. So it left this question, how did all these Superboy stories happen? And here's how they explained it. One of the villains of the Legion of Superheroes, called the Time Trapper, went back in time, created a copy of Earth, just Earth, and pulled it away and created a pocket dimension to keep Earth in. And he slowly and methodically weeded out all the other superheroes. Bruce Wayne's parents were never murdered. Oliver Queen never ended up getting pushed overboard and ending up deserted on the island. The Martian Manhunter was never teleported to Earth and died on Mars with his family. Prevented the creation of all the heroes to cultivate just Superboy, so he could send that Superboy into the future to team up with the Legion of Superheroes. So that explained all of those pre-Crisis Legion of Superheroes stories that needed Superboy in them.
Seems a bit of a stretch.
But throughout the story,
it's comics.
Throughout the story, Superboy first starts off trying to fight the Earth One, the combined Earth Superman. It has Crypto. Crypto actually loses his powers when he gets exposed to gold kryptonite.
Now, those two issues of Legion of Superheroes, that one and the one behind it,
yeah.
I see those all the time. People have them marked up, but all price guides have them lower. I know those used to be big dollar books in the day.
Right.
What were the reasons why those were big dollar books in the day, and are they good stories?
Yes, they're good stories. This is the death of the pre-Crisis on Infinite Earths Superboy from the Legion of Superheroes. These two issues, he dies. Wow, this leads up and he dies in this one. They were pricey because they weren't real high print runs. And as time went on, people started realizing exactly what it was that they were saying in these books. Like it didn't really hit at first. And, Legion was a decent selling title for them at the time. It wasn't one of their low ones, but it wasn't one of their higher ones. It was kind of right in the middle of the road. So it had a decent print run. But they were just totally under the radar. And, it's written by Paul Levitz. So it's a really well-done story. Guy knows the Legion of Superheroes backwards and frontwards. And it kind of ties up as neatly as possible for an exceptionally messy timeline, the Legion question. If you come across these, I see them sometimes really expensive. I do see them really cheap every once in a while. If you come across them cheap, pick them up. Don't dump a lot of money on them. They're totally outside of continuity now and will not in any way affect any future story by the way they're written. They would have to revamp a lot of stuff.
At least they're considered good issues.
They're good issues. They're excellent issues. Definitely read them. Next up, Blue Beetle #1. So
that's not the first one, is it?
No, this is his first DC issue.
Okay.
So I have his first appearance in Captain Atom from Charlton, but this is his first DC issue. It's not his first appearance in DC. That was in Crisis on Infinite Earths #1.
Gotcha.
But I'll tell you what, when this book came out, I was so into the Blue Beetle. To this day, Blue Beetle, the Ted Kord version, is one of my top 5 characters all time. Just a regular guy, puts on some spandex and some weird goggles, and goes out and fights crime with a giant bug-shaped airship.
Kind of like an owl, like a
owl, exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So yes, he. For those who don't know, he is the original template for the Night Owl character. When Alan Moore first went to DC to do Watchmen, he wanted to use the Charlton characters, but DC said no. We have plans for those, so he just made carbon copies of all their characters.
That makes sense. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Peacemaker is the comedian. Silk Spectre was Nightshade, or Nightshade was Silk Spectre. Ozymandias was Peter Cannon Thunderbolt. I think I showed you that first appearance a couple weeks back. So those were the templates. True story, Alan Moore's initial idea wasn't even for the Charlton characters. It was just to take an existing universe of characters and show them in a more adult way. The first characters he thought of, the Mighty Crusaders from the Archie line of books.
Interesting.
That would have been a hell of a Watchmen story. I think I would have done
been
that.
a sequel, and we'll
Right.
never get it because, God damn it, DC.
Actually, you know what the sequel was supposed? No, not sequel, but you know what his follow-up big book was supposed to be after Watchmen?
What?
Yeah, any of y'all ever hear of Twilight of the Superheroes?
No.
I'm familiar that the script was floating around out there. People loved it, but it would never clear production.
Not today. At the time, they were pretty much willing to give him whatever he wanted, not money, but projects. They were willing to give him whatever he wanted. He could pretty much get any project. So for those of you who don't know what it is, Twilight of the Superheroes was a script with a very, Alan Moore level of detail script for not a follow-up, but another series, much in the vein of Watchmen, that showed the future of DC. And it wasn't all sunshine and roses for the future of DC. The superheroes had split up into separate houses and kind of ruled different sections and areas of the world. And eventually ends up with them all in one giant battle against each other. They marry into each other's houses. There's a Superboy and Supergirl that are the offspring of Superman and Wonder Woman. The new Teen Titans and Outsiders and some other team were all part of one house, and then they had another house that was all aliens, and it was this very ornate, elaborate story. Doll Man from the Quality line, the Freedom Fighters characters, was going to be in it. He was going to have an integral part, but he was going to be this misshapen creature that was kept as a pet behind a bar. I mean, it was a very dark story, but you could feel the mid-'80s DC about it. And the script's still floating around out there. I highly recommend. Take a look, hunt it down, give it a read through. That would have been a hell of a series. Sorry, now here I am blathering. I'll show 2 more books and then we'll move on here.
Because we're almost an hour and a half in, and we still have to get through 1 through 20.
Jeez. So speaking of Alan Moore, Saga of the Swamp Thing, number 20 and 21. A lot of people look at 21. That's the first Alan Moore issue. It's not. It's issue 20. 21 is probably more influential. 20, he plotted. He did not write it. But in issue 20, what Alan Moore does in one issue is destroy the entire supporting cast that Swamp Thing has relied on since the Bernie Wrightson days. Kills them all off or changes them all pretty dramatically. And in 21 is when he reveals to the world that Swamp Thing is not Alec Holland turned into a moss-encrusted creature. It's just plants with Alec Holland's memories. And it really changes the tone of the series because he realizes I'm not human. I never was human. I can't go back to being human. Jeez. All that happened was some plants with the memories of a human grew into the shape of a man. This if you read this issue, there's a lot of dark issues in the Alan Moore run, particularly when he deals with his girlfriend, Swamp Thing's girlfriend's Abigail's ex-husband, Matt Cable. He becomes possessed by the Raven. He becomes possessed by Matt Cable. Later becomes the Raven in Sandman, Matthew. But he becomes possessed by Anton Arcane, which is this giant demonic creature who's also the uncle of Abigail Cable. And it's some really horrific stuff. But the way he portrays the way Swamp Thing realizes, and the way the artist draws those pages, the realization I'm not a man and I never was. I mean, it really drives some sense of terror into you. And I can't tell you, if you've never read the Moore Swamp Thing run, yes, I am an Alan Moore guy, but this is one of the reasons I'm an Alan Moore guy. His Swamp Thing run stands to this day as one of the finest ongoing runs in comic book history. And this is the start of it. All right, Mr. Comics on the Mind, now that I've been yabbering, how about you?
How about me indeed? What do I got for you guys? I got a book that may not be popular to most, but it's popular to me. This issue of Alpha Flight. First of all, I did not know that Jim Lee was all up in a lot of my favorite comics. Now, this is actually a Jim Lee cover. Did not know that. And now you know. This story is really great. It's so weird because Puck is dead and he's tall, which is crazy. So I guess he doesn't have his super ability, acrobatic powers in this. He's just, fighting as a human, as a tall human. And the artwork is great. That cover, a dragon, come on now. And it's Alpha Flight. I love Alpha Flight. It's a super underrated team. I love my Canadian team. I wish Wolverine would have joined. What if? Next up, Infinity Gauntlet. You're gone. You're done, son. Classic story. Love this cover. Definitely want to finish reading the entire series. Need to get number 2, but this is great cover. And then one of my favorite superhero groups, Force Works. Sorry, and of course, it's another wraparound cover. I want to get another issue. I want to buy another copy of this because I want to open up the poster. Because this opens up even more. I've seen it online, but I don't want to try to open it because this is like my copy. I don't want to ruin it. But I will
ruin it just for the show.
No. But I will buy another copy one of these days and open that bad boy up. Maybe I'll turn that into a YouTube video. I don't know. We shall see. Classic Doctor Strange cover. Battling, yeah. Shout out to Hylia. It's a skull, bro.
Is that Brunner?
Huh?
Is that Brunner art?
I believe so. So awesome. And another underrated character who needs more shout outs and love. Wonder Man. Got some Sienkiewicz goodness right here. I believe it's Sienkiewicz. But yeah, look at that. Wonder Man, so cool. Great story. Some more wrecking the title. X-Men number, I think it's 176. 176, yes. You got some wrecking the title and some tentacle action right there. Look at that. Help! These are not friendly.
Gotta dig them tentacles.
Exactly.
Hey, look who's in the chat.
Biggie!
Hop on in, Biggie.
What's up, Biggie? And then last,
All right.
It's all good, is X Factor number 1. This is like one of the series that I started collecting when I was diving in dollar bins and trying to find stuff to read. I jumped on New Mutants and X Factor, and I was like, I love this story, And I didn't know. I thought this was just X-Men. I didn't know they were a branch of. Oh, we're not taking your stuff, Professor. We're out of here. We're leaving. We'll start our own crew. And it was X Factor. Great.
Rebellious early 20-somethings.
We're not gonna take it. That's my stack. Stacks on stacks on stacks.
Nice.
Well, I guess, are we on 11 through 20 right now?
Yep, I think, or something like that.
All right. I
You
think
still got to go, right, Rob? You still got to do your last 10.
I'm just making sure that I grab the right stack here.
Was that 10?
Oh, no, right now we're still on
You got 20.
21 through 30.
Yeah.
Just make sure this is correct. 251.
What's up, Matt?
Just a second.
Oh, what's up, Air Spider? I missed a bunch of people popping up in here. Who else did I miss? What's up, everybody? Thank you for stopping by.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm just hoping that this is the correct one here because I think I screwed up the order. So if this is going to be my 21 through 30, we're going to start off with number 30. First appearance of Ra's al Ghul. Coming in at number 29, Incredible Hulk 180, the first appearance of Wolverine. Yes, I said it. The first appearance of Wolverine. The second appearance of Wendigo. Next up, the Platinum Edition of Death of Superman. Has a little not tear, but I know that it was probably in a box and somebody probably wound up getting it at the corner. Next up, number 225 of Thor. First appearance of Firelord. And for the namesake of one of the people on the show, we have the death of Kid Miracleman in Miracleman number 15. Followed by, oh yeah, one of our favorite people in comic books today. He's coming up with a Disney Plus series. He is the Falcon in his first appearance, issue 117, Captain America.
Nice.
Followed by, he's also in a new movie coming out, maybe or maybe not, with Black Widow, Taskmaster in his first appearance, Avengers issue 196. Next up, the first appearance of Beta Ray Bill in Thor 337. Followed up by the first appearance of Moondragon back when she was first called Madam McEvil. And back to everybody else. We're now about an hour and 33 into this, so we're going to head on back over to Lady Fantastic for numbers 11 through 20.
All right. Shit. Here we go. New Fantastic Four 546. This is Michael Turner. Two of my favorite characters, Silver Surfer and the Black Panther. Yeah. Planet of the Symbiotes, number 1. We've got an homage to McFarlane. Scarlet Spider here. This is a nice Mike Zeck Web of Spider-Man 32. It's just a classic cover. It's a beautiful cover. This is one of my favorites. I'm just a big fan of the Zen move. I don't know why. This is Marvel feature number 3 with the Defenders.
Yes, I love that book. It's like their third appearance, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
need 1, 2, and 3.
I need two, I need one.
I need 1 and 2. And then I've got Defenders number 3. War Against the Gods. It's just a beautiful copy. Would pair nicely with Rob's number 4. Got X-Men 28, the first Banshee. Yeah, she's a beautiful lady. Moira McTaggart, first appearance, X-Men 96. Really like this. It's a good book, good one to have. For my X-Men, Jim Lee 268 just fucking knocked it out the park. I love it.
Yeah.
I love this cover. This is America. This is fucking America. And
America.
Oh, yeah. I think this is number 9, but this is the one. This was the start of volume 2, I believe. Claremont was still writing on this, actually. And to end it, Moon Knight 25.
Oh, sweet.
Ooh. Sinkovich goodness.
Yeah.
Sinkovich goodness.
First Black Spectre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, those were my 21 through 11. So, right? Yep. I've only got 10 left.
Yep. 11 through 20, or 20 through whatever it is.
Go.
All right. So moving on out, let's hit up Miracleman.
Oops.
Miracleman.
Miracleman.
Man.
He's probably
He's
I can go if he's
Mind Shift. Comics on the mind.
Yeah, just skip to him.
because we have comics on the mind.
We'll get right back to Miracleman as soon as he can hear us.
Hey, sorry about that.
Oh, he's back.
Sorry about that. I stepped away and I got tied up there. I apologize.
What were you doing? Making pasta?
Yeah.
Yes, I was making pasta. So next, sorry about that, guys. Project Superpowers number 0. Any y'all ever read Project Superpowers?
I have not.
Nope.
Ooh, this is Alex Ross and Jim Kruger creating from scratch a superhero universe populated entirely by public domain characters from the Nedor Standard Hollyoak line. You have the original Daredevil, Pyro Man, Green Llama. Back here's the Claw, then Black Terror. Dude, they made 2 miniseries, Project Superpowers 1 and 2. Then they did a whole bunch. They did a Project Superpowers Meet the Bad Guys. They did a bunch of one-shots. Then they did a couple ongoing series for some of the more popular characters. The idea here is all these characters, they didn't exist in one combined shared universe, but they did in this series. And after World War II, they all disappeared, much like, comic books superhero comics not being en vogue after World War II. And what happened was one of their fellow heroes betrayed them and went around with this magical urn and captured all the heroes inside of it. And when they were finally released in modern times, they had been changed and they all had real superpowers. Because most of them didn't have major superpowers. A lot of them were just masked adventurers. But some of them did. Some of them just got amped up. Some of them got crazy superpowers. Some of them had horrible superpowers given to them. There's a guy named the Mask, the Green Mask, and his mask actually became fused and became part of his face. So it was not good for him. Dude, I'm telling you, find this series. This is a really good read. All Alex Ross covers.
Oh, nice.
How do you go wrong with that?
That was coming out, about a decade ago?
Yeah, about 10 years old. And it's when Dynamite was really kind of an up-and-comer. They had just gotten The Boys recently, so that was going really good for them. So they were really kind of kicking it. And were looking like they were really going to pick it up. The problem I found with Dynamite over the years is, they have a lot of great concepts and they get a lot of great characters, but they can never seem to seal the deal. They do a mini series or something like that, and instead of the 3 issues, it should be at 6 because that's what they want to put out as a trade. So you get this lukewarm ending, or you get 3 stretch issues, and then they jam last issue's all action, and you get very little satisfaction out of it. Project Superpowers was not the case. Kruger and Ross, top of their game. Afterlife with Archie number 1.
Ooh. I like this better than Walking Dead.
Oh, it was so good. I'm not even an Archie guy.
Neither am I.
Yeah,
That's probably why I liked it so much.
Yeah, that's probably it. A lot of them die. So this was coming out. This was coming out around about the same time as the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which I was also going to grab. I don't know if I did. And this is hands down the only time in my life I was excited for an Archie book. And it's been on hiatus, and you can't see me doing air quotes, on hiatus since like 2014.
Hiatus? Is it really hiatus? I don't know. Maybe we should ask somebody that's an expert. Hey, Biggie Shaq, what do you think? Is it really on hiatus?
That comic book's dead, dude. That is never coming back, man. But, yo, I just wanted to hop on here a minute to say I really appreciate you guys involving me and doing the dope thumbnail. I'm sorry I missed the show. I kind of thought I wasn't gonna make it anyway because I'm so busy these days. But I just wanted to hop on and say I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Rob, and don't be shocked, brother, if you don't see me in the future. Come and smash and bash and clang and bang, brother. So I'm gonna hop out of here. I just wanted to give the guaranteed certification of approval for Biggie Shaq for this video, dude.
Thank you so much.
Right on, man.
Later, guys. I'll be in the chat.
All right, be good.
And I'm gonna say right now,
Miracleman.
I agree with Biggie entirely. This series is dead. Same thing with Sabrina, man. I actually speak to the Twitter social media person for Archie fairly regularly and irritate the shit out of him about this book.
But sorry, the creators are doing TV shows now. They stopped caring about the book. Move on with your life.
They insist it's going to come back. It's just that the creators are just busy right now. They insist it's coming back. Right. I'll hold my breath. League of Extraordinary Gentlemen #1. You know, I'll be the first one to say the last couple of series weren't great. They weren't bad, but they never captured what the first two did. And this is the first issue from the original series. Fantastic concept, not original. Philip Jose Farmer did it, you know, and in his Wold Newton universe. And Alan even said that, you know, that was an inspiration. But really great story, man. Horrible movie, great story.
The movie was at least kind of brainlessly entertaining, but once you read the source material, you go, oh God, what have I done with my life?
It's like watching the Angelina Jolie Wanted and then reading Wanted and going, oh my God, that's what we could have got?
Serious.
I don't want to read it because it's going to ruin the movie for me.
Dude, if you love that movie, you will think this is the greatest comic book ever and be mad that we didn't get it. We could still get it someday. I don't see a reason Millar can't do it with being acquired, Millar World being acquired by Netflix. I bet you they could do it. Man, it would be a friggin' phenomenal movie, man. Oh, so good.
Just turn it into a little mini series. I'd watch the hell out of that.
Do like a Watchmen, do like a 9 or a 10 episode miniseries or whatever, or just do it the length of the book. What was it? Six issues? Give us a six episode miniseries. I'd watch the shit out of it.
Oh yeah. Don't do a sequel. Let it be like Good Omens. It's done.
Right. Done. One and done. Here's another book a lot of people might not know. Herman's Jeremiah. Herman is a Dutch comic book guy. This is a story set in the future after a minor apocalyptic event. The world is kind of falling apart. There was a giant
an oxymoron, a minor apocalyptic event.
It isn't. It isn't only because it was the fall of society, not the fall of mankind. So minor apocalypse. So it's like the fall of Rome, not the Black Plague.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
I love the analogies.
I think there's like an apocalypse or there isn't.
Sometimes it's a soft apocalypse.
Like
very shades of Mobius when you look at the art. Interesting use of color. There's very few English translations. Dark Horse did this 2-book hardcover set. You know, I'm thoroughly convinced there need to be more Western comics in the world, but not just like old school Western comics. I think you could do some awesome Western comics if you colored them and drew them the way Herman did in Jeremiah. If you find this, could not give a more high recommendation. Great book. Here's another oddball one for you. So I don't even, what am I on? How many did I show here? What is this? 4?
We're on 11 through 20.
All right, so I've gotten 4 done. Okay. All right. Zenith. So Zenith, written by Mr. Grant Morrison and drawn by Steve Yowell. This is a really great series that came out of the 2000 AD magazine. Zenith is the last superhero. There were a very limited number of superheroes in the 60s. They were very much part of the tune in, turn on, and drop out mindset, and he is the result. Think the Beatles, but as one guy, and he's a superhero. And you've got Zenith. And Zenith has to come and save the world at one point. I also love this book because it has the only instance of my entire experience in comics where you have a Welsh superhero who actually speaks Welsh. And to give you an idea, it's like trying to read Cthulhu. It's lots of D's next to Q's and K's and G's, and it's weird. No offense if anybody's from Wales, I apologize. It's weird. You got to admit it's weird. I had a hard time picking out which one of these I was going to pull out. I was going to do DC 1 Million. I was going to do because that's one of my favorite series. I was going to do a couple of the other JSA JLA crossovers, and I decided on Virtue and Vice here for a couple of reasons. First of all, Jeff Johns, David S. Goyer, and Carlos Pacheco. Writing, scripting. This is probably the best of the modern crossovers between the JLA and JSA. Really great story. They turn the teams against each other. The 7 sins from the Rock of Eternity are out, and they're affecting the heroes. They end up having to fight each other, just like every one of their crossovers. I don't know why they get together. They always end up fighting. But
this was back in the day when Jeff Johns was really trying his hardest because he's really beginning his DC career here.
Yes. Listen, if you see a book that has a Justice Society in it, or any legacy or lineage character in DC's pantheon, and you see the name Jeff Johns on that book, buy it.
Oh yeah, his early Flash stuff, his JSA stuff, his JLA stuff.
It's all phenomenal. Jeff Johns is a man who understands DC at a DNA level. The worst thing they ever did,
Green Lantern.
Yes. In my opinion, the worst thing they ever did was overstretch him. They should just put him in charge. He should be editor-in-chief of DC Comics. Let him write a series a month, whatever he wants to write. Let him control DC, the comics. Keep him out of the movies and the TV. I don't care how much success he's had over there. Keep him out of that. Put him in charge of the publishing division. DC would be putting out bangers every single month, man.
Yep, I wouldn't disagree with that.
So I think what was that? There's 5. Okay, so I got 5 more. All right. So, I saw you put up an Oz book earlier, Mr. On the Mind, and
Yes, I did. Mr. On the Mind.
I was a big fan of the Marvel Oz series. I read them to my it was my first attempt to try and get my daughter into comics. It failed miserably. She loved them and never cared about another comic after that. But I would read them to her, and she really enjoyed them. And it was a very special time. And now it's all gone because she's grown up. But I have another Oz book. I have another Oz book here from Caliber Press. One of those publishers that went out in the 90s. They are back. Caliber Press is back printing.
Seriously?
Yeah, they're printing new collections of their original material of Dead World, Oz, all those books. So this is a very dark Oz. The premise of the story is 3 new kids get sucked into the land of Oz, and the evil Gnome King has taken over, and he's turned all of Dorothy's compatriots over to the evil side with dark magic.
Mhm.
Yes. This ran like 30 issues. There was a mini series, Rags and Rivets or something like that. When Caliber went under, it went over to Arrow Comics, and they did another 6 issues. Those are real tough to find, because who the hell's ever heard of Arrow Comics? And I think there was even a Dark Oz mini. They did some type of Caliber crossover, Demonscape or Demon Crepe, I don't know. And that had an Oz book. If you find these Oz books, you're going to find them in quarter bins. Nobody's looking for these things, guys, but this is the best Oz story I've ever read, and I've read a lot of Oz stories.
It is creepy looking as hell,
Yes.
so I'm sold.
Oh man,
I agree with you.
it is dark. It is dark. That's Jack Pumpkinhead right there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And all I can remember a Pumpkinhead from is from Sandman, which is in my top 10, I think.
Right.
Or no, top 20. So there's Jack Pumpkinhead, but what's the creepiest that reminds me of that the most is that Return to Oz.
Yes.
If you remember that old movie from the 1985, 1986? Yeah, it's creepy on that creep factor.
Do you know who played Dorothy in that?
I know that she was in True Romance. I should know her name.
No. She wasn't in True Romance. You're trying to think of Patricia Arquette.
No, not her. The one with the dark hair. She was the daughter of Arnold Schwarzenegger in True Romance. I can't remember her name.
True Lies.
True Lies.
Yeah, True Lies.
True Lies.
True Romance was Christian Slater.
Was it Elizabeth Dushku?
Nope.
That's it.
Nope, that's not who it was. Not who it was.
Now who was?
Feruza
Balk.
Yep.
Oh,
We
Feruza
have it
Balk.
with Air Spider 23, getting it right.
Yep.
It's fine.
I had such we were right around the same age. In fact, I think she's like a year older than me. When I first saw that, I had such a crush on her then, and that crush has never died. If Feruza Balk walked up to me right now, I would leave my wife, and I've told her.
no.
Like, I love you and all, baby, but that's Feruza Balk. Like,
Sorry, baby, I'm out.
and you know what? She told me if a mute Vin Diesel walks up, she's out too. So I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with it. He would have to be mute, she said. All right, so my last 3 in this round. The next one I'm going to show you, I'm going to preface with, don't buy this comic. Okay?
Yet it's in your top 20.
No, this isn't the next one's the top 10. This is the 20s, right? 11 to 20? Yeah, okay.
This is 11 through 20.
Okay. So this isn't the top 10s. The reason I'm saying not to buy this book is because it's not a nice story.
Oh.
Who?
This is Veronica number 4. Glenn Danzig's publisher of the 90s. He still puts out a book like once every 3 months now, I think, to retain copyright. Veronica pumped out a lot of horror and Japanese hentai and porn and horror and porn and horror and porn. They actually made a XXX hardcore movie with a big name actress at the time called Rub Girl, which was about a zombie hooker. Which is one of their characters from this. The Veronica series was an anthology. It would have 2 stories per issue. The reason I'm saying not to buy this book, and I mean it, I'm not, listen, I know I'm going to say don't buy it, and that's people going to go, no, I want to buy it. Don't buy this book. The story I read in here is probably the most disturbing story I've ever read in my entire life. And
On top of Faust.
What's that?
On top of Faust.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm all ears now.
Story's called A Taste of Cherry. I am not going to say any more about the story. And the reason I'm not is because despite our warnings, we might still get in trouble. The story is
throw up the warning anyway.
The story is pretty twisted. People, I read this show is not for children. You must be over 18 or 21, depending on your location, in order to view Not Near Mint. Listen, so the reason I say that this story is influential to me, that's why it's in my top 50, is because, I read Crossed, and people would go to me, man, how can you read that? That's rough. And I said, this ain't nothing, man. I read Veronica. It's disturbing. Every story is disturbing, and this is probably the top most disturbing story I've ever read. I know I kind of made a little bit of a joke out of it, but it's messed up, guys. And I don't recommend it to anybody. The last two in the top 20s here, this would be 12 and 11, I guess, technically, right?
I guess so.
Days of Future Past, baby.
Oh, hell yeah. Wow, is that one of the ones you got from the pawn shop?
Yeah.
No, these actually spent money on. I think I spent $40 for 140, 141, and 142.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, so that was market value.
Yeah, that's not what I paid. That's in my top 50.
Right. Now, the 109, which is the first appearance of Vindicator, I paid $2 for that. But the 140, 141, 142, I paid $40 for the three, all three issues, $40. So that's like, it was like $13 a book. I paid $13 a book for them.
Yeah,
still pretty damn good.
Right.
Yeah, you're getting a deal.
Well, see, here's the thing. Here's the thing about these two books, though, and the reason they're in my top, they're 12 and 11. A couple of reasons. Obviously, one of the most iconic homaged covers of all time. Beautiful Byrne and Austin book. Second, this is back in the day when you could have a book that became, a event or a story that becomes so influential that it forever affected the tide of the characters in it, and it was only 2 issues.
And you didn't have to create a separate mini-series. You
didn't have to have a universe-defining event. You could take 2 issues in their book and write a story so solid it would stand the test of time. I'm telling you right now, 30 more years from now, if comics still exist and Uncanny X-Men still exist, or any X-Men, people will still talk about this series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is going to be a story that affects, the entire franchise throughout the remainder of its history.
Canon. It's fucking canon.
It's canon. And that's why they hit 12 and 11. Also, just really good story. Just really good. So that's it. I'm down. I finished 11 to 20. Now I think it's you, Mr. Mind.
And you're having a snack. So we're going to jump on over to Comics on the Mind.
You're making me hungry, Miracleman.
I didn't mean to munch in your ear.
It's all good.
I thought I hit mute.
It's all good. This is not one of my books, but Miracleman was talking about Pumpkinhead, so I was like, "Hey, cool, Pumpkinhead." There he is. But my first book in this next round is definitely another Scotty Young. Some more Fairyland.
Love the cover.
Yeah,
Nice.
I know this cover still doesn't do justice what happens at the end, but the ending is not even my favorite part. It's this part. Gert with the beard.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I love that's like one of my favorite parts. You see like pretty much like the little fly dude is like building a house, starting his own family, and then he's just like, it went downhill. I'm gonna burn it all to the ground. So once again, I love this series. And then I also have a Moon Knight Sinkovich in my top 50, but it's not 25, unfortunately. It's 20. Great cover. Look at Moon Knight. Yes, I will destroy the town. At least that's what it looks like. Great cover. More Sinkovich goodness. These next three are a set. This whole series, but is like dear to my heart because it's like one of my favorite Wolverine stories. But these covers are my favorite. But this is like the original Weapon X cover. Series, and this is a tearjerker, just seeing what they did to Wolverine, and I really like that he got his justice revenge. But these covers, this is probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah, so
Is
good. What was that?
The artist is the artist Kubert.
Barry Windsor Smith.
Yeah. BWS. So those are awesome. I got more shout out to Sinkovich. I got more Sinkovich goodness. New number 26, First Legion. Love this dude. Crazy as hell. But I want to watch his TV show. And shout out to Biggie. Some first Warlock. Awesome. New Mutants number 18. Warlock is one of my favorite New Mutants besides Sunspot and Douglas. What else do I have? Which one do I want to show? I'll show this one. More Scotty Young. I was hunting for this cover for so long. Like, I only ran across one cover, like, on eBay, and it was like for $40, and I'm like, no. I ended up getting this one for $6, so
Hell yeah.
can't complain.
Well done.
Yeah, so awesome Scotty Young cover. And I got some more New Mutants action. First New Mutants.
Yeah.
Not their original first appearance, but it's their first solo issue. I want that graphic novel. I'm gonna get it, the first print, one of these days. But I love this series.
Yeah.
And then another shout out to Biggie. Got some Jack Kirby goodness. First appearance of the Inhumans. Banger. Love this. So good. And you got some classic Ben Grimm action right there. And that is my books. Those are my books. So
That means, is it my turn?
Yeah.
It kind of looks like an apocalypse because I pulled out all my big books. And there's still some pretty big bangers that are back there. So don't completely trust me when I go, it's now time to show. Let's see here. It is. Yeah, we're down to the last 20 to 11 from me. So let's jump the camera on over to the big surprise. We got coming up at number 20, King Size Annual Avengers number 10.
Almost pulled
This
that
is a
off.
great story with a shit cover.
I agree.
Coming in at number 19, The Batman Adventures Issue 12 Newsstand Edition. Yes, this is number 19. First appearance of, I can't remember. No, I'm kidding. It's Harley Quinn. Coming up at number 18, All-Star Comics number 58. This is the first appearance of Wonder Girl with that see-through. Adventure into Fear number 19, the first appearance of Howard the Duck in Adventure into Fear 19. This is number 17. Coming in at number 16, Detective issue 880. I got this for cover price on New Comic Book Wednesday. This is why it's important not to miss New Comic Book Wednesday. When we come back from New Comic Wednesday after break, don't miss New Comic Wednesday. You might miss something like this. Coming in at number 15, X-Men 268. This is the first time that Jim Lee started on the book. You can see it signed by Jim Lee, as well as Stan Lee for no apparent reason.
2 Lees.
I was a kid. Now this is good. This is number 14, The Goon, Volume 2, from Albatross, the remarked edition that I got signed and drawn on. Coming in at number 13, Sandman, number 1 by Neil Gaiman. This is Sam Keith at the beginning of his career.
Wow.
And oh my God, look at these covers.
Yeah, they're so good.
Finally, at number 11, Green Lantern, number 76. And this is, for me, Rob Worst from Not Near Mint. Immortal Biggie Shaq top 10 challenge or top 50 challenge. This is my 20 through 11.
That's a Batman, my dude.
Yeah, it's not Green Lantern.
What did I say?
You said Green Lantern.
No, I mixed it up. This is Batman 251. I don't know why I said Green Lantern. Where's my Green Lantern?
Oh, Green Lantern's lost.
That's not good, man.
Find that Green Lantern.
Oh, what's after that? There you go.
Are we on the last 10?
We were on the last 10.
On the last
There's the
10.
Green Lantern.
I think I didn't show some books.
All right, so I guess the next person up will be Lady Fantastic.
Lady Fantastic.
Lady.
Thanks for making me big. Okay, guys, Miss Marvel. This is tied to the House of M, and I think this is a really great story because it's basically like she is totally not needed and an irrelevant like superhero, but then like in this alternate M world or whatever, after Scarlet Witch like does her bullshit, she becomes one of the most important like characters in the story. And so it's really cool how this gets turned on it. And so, yeah, whatever. And then Avengers 144 First Hellcat.
Yes.
Nice.
I found that in the dollar bin.
Yeah.
Oh,
I did not find that in the dollar bin. Nor did I find this Avengers 181 first appearance of Scott Lang.
Yes, so
very
awesome.
cool.
And this is just one of my all-time favorite covers, Avengers 223.
That's a great cover.
Yeah, I do think so too. And then, oh my God, this like Monica Rambeau, like Captain Marvel binary sort of thing. This cover just kills me. Story's badass. Good times. Mighty Avengers. Look at that. And Jungle Action number 5. This is the first time Black Panther appears in a title of his own or whatever.
I got
I'm
goosebumps
so proud
right
of
now.
you.
I got goosebumps right now looking at this book.
And then actually Black Panther number 8. This is like this tells this origin story, and it's got like a map of Wakanda and stuff, and it's awesome. It's just really cool. Oh, I love Black Panther.
I do too.
This is just one of my favorite covers by Sal Buscema and John Romita.
Nice.
It is Astonishing Ant-Man, Marvel Future. Astonishing Ant-Man number 9. I'm a cat person, and this is just great, dude. This is hilarious. And let's see. This is number 2. Gotta go with Jack Kirby, giant size Captain America number 1. This is actually a gift from a friend. So yep.
That's an awesome friend.
And the number 1, Jude. Don Newton on the Phantom. Charles
Nice.
Phantom. I think it was 74.
Yeah, very cool.
Didn't you get that early last year?
Yeah,
I remember you making a video about that. It was one of your early ones.
I was really excited about it.
It's an awesome cover, man.
It's one of the best, dudes. So, yep, that's it. I gotta go because I have to meet with my boss at 9
Oh,
a.m.
no.
Damn your boss.
I know.
Before we check out, how about you go ahead, promote yourself, or rather promote yourself. We're all a little tired this after midnight. It's 12:11 a.m. on March the 26th. So go ahead, Lady Fantastic. Anything coming up? Social media? Anything on your YouTube channel?
No, I'm working from home and I'm going slightly mad from that. So probably just like get on randomly and do some live streams or stuff, but nothing planned or big in the books as of now. So
Understood. I'm feeling right along with you, wanting to jump on other people's live streams instead of doing it myself.
lazy.
Easier that way. But in any case, Lady Fantastic, thank you so much for coming. Let me see if I can rearrange my camera. There you go.
Thanks
So,
for having
as always, looking forward. Hopefully that next Wednesday things are getting better for you, for everybody here, everybody in the chat. And otherwise, we'll be always in contact. And if you need me to jump on a channel with you, I'm right there because there is nothing else I have to do.
Yeah, well, most importantly, I want everybody to stay safe and wash your hands.
Social distancing.
Yeah, listen to professional medical people. Yeah, that's all. All right, I'm out.
Later, lady.
Bye, lady.
Thank you, Lady Fantastic.
Be safe.
So we're going to move on over to Miracleman for his top 10 for the Immortal Shaq Biggie Challenge.
All right, so I'm going to try and keep my pontificating to a perniciously small pontification.
Okay,
So,
Derek Miller.
all right. So this would be number 10, right?
That it would be.
Number 10. You're going to be surprised. There's going to be a lot. No, you're not going to be surprised. Superman in Action Comics number 775. This is the first appearance of the Elite, which was the mainstream DC Universe version of the Authority, and was essentially kind of a meta commentary on comic books at the time. This book,
What's so funny about truth, justice, and the American way. That's one of my favorite stories.
it is phenomenal. It is probably the best single issue Superman story I've ever read. Completely contained. Don't need to read anything else, and it's phenomenal. Highly recommend it. If you see this book, pick it up. Number 9. This guy happens to be a friend of mine. Power of Shazam number 1. This is the Jerry Ordway run from the 90s. Listen, the current run is great from Jeff Johns. It's a little, tough to come out. This ran like 50 issues, and every single issue is phenomenal. Everything that Jeff Johns is doing now with Captain Marvel to bring him back out into the mainstream DC universe, Jerry Ordway did in the 90s. And unfortunately, after he left this main title, they made some bad editorial choices with Shazam, necessitating Jeff Johns bringing him back out and reintroducing him to the DC universe. But Ordway did it all and did it great, and this series is fantastic. The covers are all gorgeous. Pick this up if you come across it.
Oh, yeah.
Now a big boy book. Saga number 1 here. I don't know what it's going for right about now.
Wow.
Don't much care. Bought it when it came out.
Same.
I didn't really expect a ton from this when it came out. I was like, oh, this is a funky little sci-fi, I don't think I knew Fiona Staples at all at that point.
Neither did I.
Brian K. Vaughan I was familiar with. I had read some of his stuff.
One Last Man.
Right. So, I mean, if
This
you...
was exactly what he was doing right after he followed that up.
Yeah. And this is amazing. I mean, if you've never read... Almost everybody's read Saga. That's another book that it's on hiatus. Really? It's been on a hiatus like 2 years. That's not hiatus. That's
July
somebody
2017.
Yeah, that's people deciding whether or not they want to come back and do a book, and so far the answer is no, which is a shame.
It's coming back though.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Yes.
Mr. Miracle #1. I'm a big Kirby guy. One of the things I've been hunting down over this last year or so has been all of his DC Bronze Age work. And this is probably just the coolest freaking cover. Now, the colors are really bad on most copies of this. Interior covers are really bad. I got a really sharp cover on this. Interior covers, I believe his costume is like a burnt orange on the interior. No, I lie. The red is purple on the inside. It's really bad. Fables #1.
Nice.
Now this is the 25-cent edition. I missed out on the first printing of the book. This was a special edition that came out later. I have all the rest, almost all. I think I need like 18 more issues. But I got the final issue 150 and 100. I showed them last week. This is the probably easiest series to get somebody who's never read comics into comics. Because all the characters are going to be approachable. The concept's going to be approachable. If you've never read Fables, all of your imaginary characters that ever existed exist in New York City. They were forced into the real world outside of the magical realms they lived in. And, for the 150 issues and like the 3 or 4 crossovers or miniseries they did, and then Jack of Fables, and then Fairest, and then they did the 2 Cinderella ones. It's just all great work, man. Beautiful art, incredibly well written. This is Willingham at his absolute finest. Preacher #1.
Great series.
Yes.
I'll tell you what, man. Preacher was my during a very tough time in my life. Was something that really reached me and spoke to me and kind of helped me through a tough time. And Garth Ennis, essentially, he could write anything, and I'll read it. I don't care what he says he's going to write. I'll read it. And Steve Dillon, take it from us too soon.
I'm just hoping that what happened to you didn't happen in Preacher, and you weren't thrown into a coffin and thrown into a lake and left in there for a week, and then they pull you out in your feces and piss covered body. And
I mean, there wasn't feces.
this is Preacher, everybody. It's not like I'm making this shit up. This happened in the book.
It's in Preacher. There's also dog loving in Preacher, so let's not get too deep into it.
And the Meat Man. Don't forget about the Meat Man.
Oh God. Preacher's a great series, man. I honestly, back in my MySpace days, I had Preacher listed as a comic book to read. So Crisis on Infinite Earths #7.
For the kids at home, MySpace existed about 20 years ago, and it's about as dead as we might be in a week.
Right.
Don't tell them that. They'll guess our age.
Yeah. MySpace is Facebook's dad.
Yeah.
That's what MySpace is.
Yes.
So my next book here, Crisis on Infinite Earths #7, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's an
I see.
autograph right there.
Whose autograph is that?
Can you guess? It's kind of tough to see. Can you guess whose it is?
George Perez?
Yeah, it's George Perez.
Yeah.
Only because I have his signature facing me right now.
Not only do I love this book because I have it autographed by George Perez, my brother actually has #8 autographed by George Perez, The Death of Flash. This is probably the first comic that ever made me cry. Like, I legit cried. I mean, I was like, 7, so don't make too much fun of me. But
And I thought she was actually dead. Like,
well, she was
forever.
This Kara was dead. I mean, this was it for this Kara. Now we got the Prody Kara in the late 80s and 90s Superman, and then we got the Kara Zor-El came back, but it's never been this girl. she had a lot of history, and her series that was led up to this was drawn by Infantino, and no offense to Infantino, but go. And we didn't get a whole lot of good stuff with her, in my opinion, and because Infantino seemed to be her artist that they were sticking with, and this was sad, man. This legit made me cry. But you know what? Is there any more homaged cover than Crisis on Infinite Earth 7? Maybe AF-15, maybe Action 1, maybe. But this has been homaged an awful lot.
Oh, come on, Lee.
Come on, Commandy #1. Again, Jack Kirby, man, it's gorgeous. It's post-apocalyptic. It's got talking monkeys. This is my #3 book right here, guys. And I still don't have the whole series. I got like 1 or 2 issues that I need, literally like 1 or 2 issues. But I just absolutely love Commandy. I would, if I was on like an island and I could have one full series to read for the rest of my life, it would probably be Commandy. It would probably be Commandy. I love Commandy. Now, don't get me wrong. After Jack leaves the book, it takes a terrible turn. But while Kirby's working on it, it's a banger, man. The whole run. Now, my last 2. This is #2 and #1, and I have to admit I cheated a little bit because I have 3 books tied for #2 and 2 books tied for #1. But you'll see why they're tied. First, here's #2.
Oh yeah.
115 and 16. Now, I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm sure you all knew I kind of like this series.
What gave it away?
Miracleman #1 there gives us the character back. Obviously, very influential, very important. Miracleman #15, that's the destruction of London. Rob showed that one earlier. And that's probably the one that's the most highly sought after, the most expensive book. #14 sees a little bit of sexual assault. One of the reasons I didn't pick that one. But #16 here is actually, in my mind, a better book than #15. And I'll tell you why. It's Alan's last issue. It's John Tollebin's last issue, Alan Moore's last issue. Next issue is taken over by Morrison and Veitch. Is it Veitch? I think it's Veitch.
Rick Veitch?
I think it's Rick Veitch. Either way, my brain is a little fuzzy at the moment. I'm having a tough time. I'm sorry. Should have drank that cough medicine before we did the show. But here's the reason the 16 that I think is a better issue. 15 ends the world, and 16 shows Miracleman and his small pantheon of heroes rebuilding it, changing it, turning it into a utopia that the Morrison run deals with. But it was all the groundwork was set here by Alan in #16. And it's a gorgeous, incredibly well done book. It captures all the things that you would go, well, you can't have a utopian society not ruled, but enforced by one all-powerful being for all of these reasons, and he just wipes all those reasons away. It's a blueprint for a better world that really isn't a better world, but it sure looks like one.
On the surface.
Right. And it's just so well done. Everybody wants 15, but I tell you, 16 is the better issue.
It's
Now,
the conclusion.
It is.
I would have been okay if it ended there. But Neil Gaiman jumped on, and you're like, okay, let's see where it goes from here.
What did I say? Morrison, Gaiman. Jesus, God. See, I drank too much cough syrup. So
it's late for you guys too.
It is. So here's #1.
It's only 12:30 in the morning, everybody that's watching on the replay.
Right.
9:25.
And I'm old. I go to bed early and shit. Here's #1, and you'll see why it's 2 issues.
Oh yeah, Alan Moore, the final Superman story.
This is the
Alan Moore wrote Superman 2?
Yeah.
You've got to read
I
these.
did not know that.
About 10 years ago, they put them out in trade. You can pick up these original issues. They're really not very expensive. They're a couple of bucks most places.
What's the story called?
What's that?
What's the story called?
It is the Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Yeah. If you pick up the combined edition, this cover is on. This is the cover for the combined for the two issues. But it's Superman 423 and Action 583. Now, here's what happens after this, or here's what happens here. Alan Moore, it's Alan Moore, Kurt Swan, and George Perez there. This is Alan Moore, Kurt Swan, and Kurt Schaffenberger on Action. What happens is Alan and Kurt have been writing Superman for decades, get together, and they write this story, which essentially takes all of the elements of the Silver Age Superman, the pre-Crisis on Infinite Earth Superman, and gives us one last story in that continuity. Excuse me. That ends with what is seemingly the death of Superman.
Mm.
Now, you come to find out at the very end that maybe he didn't die. But it has... it literally wraps up everything. The world's finest team up of Batman and Superman when they were best friends, the Legion of Superheroes, all of his villains. It's a story that I read it when it first came out and has stayed with me as probably the best, hands down, best comic book two-parter. Hell, best comic book story I've ever read is these two issues. You need to know a little bit about Superman, I think, to really get some of it.
But he even wrote Jason Todd in this story, and even in the couple panels that he wrote Jason Todd, he had a better handle on the character than anybody else that wrote it.
Right. Right. You read these two issues, and then you will be infuriated at DC for not doing everything they could to get Alan Moore to continue to write their characters. Now, that being said, if you read the DC Comics Present Alan Moore did with Superman and Swamp Thing, you'll go, not that big of a deal. But if you read these two, you will recognize what they lost out on, because this story is just so perfectly made and covers so much. Literally, 40 years of Superman's history, all wrapped up in a night of almost 50 years of Superman's history, all wrapped up in a nice, neat little bow, saying goodbye to that version of Superman. The very next issue of Superman here changes to Adventures of Superman, and that's the post-crisis version. And Action just continues right along, but the very next issue is post-crisis Superman, the Man of Steel version, the John Byrne version of Superman. And this is the last time we get to see Silver Age Supes.
Why, Superman?
Yeah. So there's my number one. What do you got, Mr. Worst?
I think it's time for Comics on the Mind to do his top 10.
Comics on the Mind. Sorry about that.
All
so
good.
Comics on the Mind. Let's cycle over to you, sir. What do you got?
Let's see what I got. I also have 4 honorable mentions because I realized I had extra 4 in my stack. I was like, I don't want to take them out. So first up is The Thing, issue 1. I flipped my shit when I found out that he had his own run. I was buying just random Fantastic Four copies, and I was falling in love with his character and who he is and
he was super popular in the 70s.
I love Ben Grimm, so that one had to make it to the top 10. Next up is some Silver Age goodness. Tales of Astonish number 77. This is the issue where Rick Jones snitches on Hulk and tells the world who he is. Well, Thunderbolt Ross.
Damn it, Rick. Snitches get stitches.
I was thinking the same thing. But this is one of the first. I bought this in a lot of Tales of Astonish. This is one of the first Silver Age books that I got. And I smelled it and I was in love with it.
Old comic smell.
I know, right? This is probably hands down one of my favorite Punisher stories besides the original, and it's the War Machine Punisher when Nick Fury gives him the suit, and he's pretty much like, I'm keeping it.
Mine, bitch.
Yeah, and it was amazing seeing like the people he was helping and the mayhem he was causing at the same time.
So we're coming up on your top 5?
That was just 3 so far.
Right.
This is this one, the Death of Wolverine. I know people have a lot of mixed feelings about this because he's dead, he's back, he's dead, he's back. I look at that cover, look at it, it's bling blow. How you like me now? So cool. All 4 of these covers were amazing, but I really fell in love with this series. Now we're getting to some of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, we're on number 6 still. So I'm gonna put you. This cover I love. Shout out to Lady Fantastic because I love me some Black Panther too, and this is special to me because it is my LCS, Cape and Cow Comics, one of the greatest LCS in the world. They had an exclusive Black Panther cover, and look, it's Storm. I love Storm, but look, it's Welcome to Oakland. Come on now. What comic book is talking about Oakland, California? You know what I mean? So I love this one.
West Coast Avengers, maybe?
Maybe
West Coast.
I didn't even. Well, I know they were in San Francisco a couple times. Now we're on the top. Now we're on top 5.
Nice. Let's go. Let's see them.
Okay. I love this cover. Story behind.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Comics on the Mind. This is his top 5.
Are you ready? I bought this book in a stack of Silver Age books. I only paid $60 for, and when I looked up the history of this book, I was like, this book basically paid for the stack. But it is Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 33, the final chapter. It's beat up. It's got some nicks, but I don't care. I read the story and it was amazing. Now I see why everybody is like classic cover. This is a classic moment in Spider-Man history. I'm like, what are you talking about? I read it and I'm like, so good.
That's why.
Yeah. So that's my top 5.
Not even a Spidey guy. I want that book.
This is number 4, and shout out to Highly a Comic Bro. He AOK'd this one to me because he knows I'm a huge Defenders fan, but it is.
Raul.
And my second, yes, I love Raul. He's cool. The second appearance of the Defenders, and it's my second slab.
Nice.
So,
good choice for a slab.
I know, right? This is so cool.
Really cool.
I'm not a big slab dude, but I'm happy to have that one. Next up is a book that I jumped on this because of the movie. I'm not gonna lie, but when I did more research about the character, I really fell in love with him. I want to read the series that they have with him now, but it is first appearance of Miles Morales.
Hell yeah.
So good. I need to get this whole story. I don't want to just read this one. I want to read the whole thing. So, yeah, that's a really cool cover. Now, do you want to see these two? And not my birth certificate that's sitting back there.
This is Comics on the Mind, top 2 books.
So I love this character. I didn't collect comic books like a lot of people did. You know, when I was a kid, I read comic books here and there, Archie's or whatever. But I watched a lot of television, and X-Men animated series was one of my favorite series, and one of my favorite all-time characters on there, besides Beast and Nightcrawler, was Gambit. I loved his witty ass.
And that purple and pink leopard print.
I know. Even though his first cameo, I mean, he was in multiple panels. Talk about, you know, first appearances. But yeah, I was so happy to get this into my collection. One of my first big boy books. And then this is another big boy book that I was so happy. This is the last one.
This is Comics on the Mind's #1 book.
#1 book. I love this cover. I honestly, when I was hunting for this book, when I was a new booty collector, I was just collecting Secret Wars from the dollar bins, or, you know, and then I want to look up that issue number 8. Why can't I find issue number 8? Where is it at? I realized, doing some research, why I couldn't find it, because it's first appearance of the symbiotic suit. So this is one of those books where I didn't want it necessarily for the cover. I wanted it for the story, to actually read it. So it was actually really good to actually be able to read this story. I have the first 1 through 7, and then a couple of the higher ones, but I was so happy to have this one. And can I mention my honorable mentions real quick? I'll do it really fast. Honorable mention number 1, first appearance Taskmaster. He didn't make it because it looks like he's been pulled across concrete floor. Other 2 honorable mentions. Miracleman brought him up, so I didn't want to. I had to pick something up. But I picked these 2. Great. I love these stories. And I have an homage cover of this one that has all the characters, all the people that work at my LCS. So it's really cool to see, like, the owner of my LCS. It says in one of these corners, "Slain." So it's so cool. And then last but not least, I love this miniseries of Sabretooth. And come on, look at that cover. Beautiful art. Almost made it in the top 10, but
nice.
Some other books knocked it out. And that's my top 10.
That's Comics on the Mind, and you can find him at Mindshift on Instagram.
Check me out. Funny videos there.
Guess that leaves like one more person then, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess I should jump on over to the other camera. Here we go, everybody. This is the top 10 for the Immortal Biggie Shaq Top 50 Challenge. Starting off with number 10, Strange Adventures, issue number 205.
Nice.
This is the first appearance of Dead Man.
Nice.
That's a good book.
Yes.
And much like how you guys are doing, I'm going to do not exactly a runner-up, but I'm going to call it my issue 0 after I'm counting down from 10.
Nice.
This is number 10. Number 9, the Doug copy of Detective Comics number 357, the first appearance of Barbara Gordon, Batgirl. It's a little chewed up too, as you can see, but the big highlight is this is the Doug pedigree. Number 8, Saga number 1. This is pretty interesting to note that I did not have this in a bag or board for about the first 3 years that I owned this. I did not know that it would become a big issue, and it's still pretty pristine because I would just put it in a stack and then I would put it in a box and file it, and it's still pretty damn sharp. Which brings me to number 7. Batman number 181, the first appearance of Poison Ivy.
Nice.
This is in sharp condition. I wound up picking this up from my old LCS that may or may not go out of business from bad business practices. But it's really, really nice condition. And it has, of course, the pinup in the back. So, after 10, 9, 8, 7, number 6, Submariner, the mutilated version that I mutilated when I was a child.
Oh, I remember that story.
Yeah. I'm not going to retell the story, but when I was a kid, I thought it was a good idea to make sure that there wasn't any Marvel chipping. So I took an X-Acto and cut away for myself and cut away that little flippant little corner. I wish I just would have peeled it back with, I don't know, like an X-Acto or maybe something like this. I mean, use a pick. Don't use your fingernail and don't just cut it off.
Oops.
So this is number 6, which leaves me now with the Immortal Biggie Shaq Top 50 Challenge. This is my top 5. Number 5, Avengers number 57, the first appearance of Vision.
Oh,
Nice.
I know it's unrestored because no one tried punching up the little fold on the left-hand side there that you can see going down. I hope no one's snoring back there because we are approaching almost 1 a.m. So let's race through this bitch. Number 4, Marvel Spotlight, issue number 5. The first appearance of Danny Ketch. Oh, wait, no. Johnny Blaze as Ghost Rider. What is this? Number 3, the first appearance of Drax the Destroyer, along with Thanos. You might have seen him in a movie that came out over last summer that no one remembers quite as well because there's a real apocalypse. And I'm still hoping that we might wind up getting to see this on Disney Plus. It hasn't even started going into production. And hopefully the last movie that you saw in a movie theater wasn't the very last movie that you'll see in a theater ever. But this is the first appearance of Moon Knight in Werewolf by Night, issue 32. And now, this is the top 2 books. Actually, no. This is the number 1 book for Immortal Biggie Shaq's Top 50 Challenge. The number 1 book is
Oh, yeah.
Action Comics number 242, the first appearance of Brainiac. This might be in about a 5.5 condition, maybe a 5. It still has some damage of a fold. It has a subscription crease that's not so bad. But what's really bad is just a little bit of, I don't know. It looks like that might be some rust on the staple. So that cover might eventually come off one day. Actually, there's no might about it. So this is my number 1 book. But there is a runner-up right behind that. Some of you might be familiar with it. I got it for $0.00. It is the first appearance of Perry White, but that's not because I have it. I have it because it's signed by Joe Shuster.
Nice.
Superman number 7 from 1940.
Wow.
This is the top of my collection, although not my crown jewel. My crown jewel is right there.
Oh, yeah.
My signed copy of Crisis on Infinite Earths poster. This came out back in maybe 2003. Toured the country just so that I could get it signed by both George Perez and Alex Ross. That is the gem of my collection. Paid maybe $20 for the poster, about $300 for the framing, and who knows what, getting into conventions and flying places for about a good decade before I could finally get it signed. But there you go.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, yeah.
You know, we can do twins right now, right?
Oh, you have it too?
Oh, yeah.
Ah, rad. And what I've been doing as we've been off this last week, you'll see over here in the corner that, yeah, you have some boxes that are out because I'm doing CLZ. It's something that I've never done before, but as you can see, I'm kind of clearing stuff out. This is how I wind up shooting everything here. So you're seeing the inside the Not Near Mint production studio. So I'll jump back over here to my camera. So this way I can join the rest of the broadcast. So I don't have a naked background because really, holy shit, man, look at this. It looks like with me taking everything down, I don't have no books no more. I still have some wall books up here. I mean, I showed you Marvel Spotlight #5, and you'd almost be mistaken to go, but dude, he has like the first comic appearance of like Star-Lord. No, this was the next volume of Marvel Spotlight. And yeah, he appeared in other volumes. So it's not even in my top 50. I like him. And I just really don't have a place to store them yet because I haven't made room for Marvel Spotlight Volume 2. But there's still plenty more books that we could show. We are so excited about comic books. We are still going to be buying them, back issues. Hey, if there's new comic books that might come out in a month or 2 or 5 months from now, great, I'll be getting them. If you're going digital, otherwise, there's always going to be back issues. There's always going to be back issues.
Oh, nice, Miracleman.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take you on the spin there.
Oh, no, where are we going?
We go you missed it.
I was showing my Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, and I was over here talking to the camera.
Yeah,
damn it, go back.
Mine I actually got from sorry, you're gonna just get a little bit of that.
Should I be queuing up the tales for? Oh, you have it framed too.
Yeah, so I actually got mine when I was working for the Warner Brothers Studio store. I worked in the art gallery, and I got this one, and I also got the Justice League, Justice Society, and Superman Peace on Earth piece that he did. I did not get the Legion of Superheroes one because it was not that good. But this one here, I absolutely loved. I got the last one in the country. Mine came already autographed by Perez and Ross. And actually, they had ordered me one, shipped it to me, and it was broken when it arrived. And they had to scramble to find another one for me. So, yeah. True story, that piece, that same image is up at the National Museum. I think it's called the National Museum of Play in New York. They have a comic book section, and this piece is right there as you go walking into it.
That is sweet. I know it took them about 6 months in order to put that whole thing together.
Yeah.
Mapping out all the blacks first and then putting in all the color. It was just so time consuming. It was the cover with the most amount of characters ever. And of course it had to be George Perez to do it.
Right. I mean, I actually went through this at one point in time and named, because somebody challenged me to name the characters, and I actually went through and I think I named all but 3. 2.
Oh,
I named all but 2. So
I used to be able to be better about that. I don't think I could do that as well today as I could maybe a decade ago.
Yeah.
But to be fair, they haven't used a lot of these characters in well over a decade or 3.
Yeah, some of them we haven't seen since Crisis. So it's not tough to lose some of these names, that's for sure.
And I'm going to echo Ricky Ricardo Rodriguez Vacas as he says, stay safe, F Corona, and F Doug for what he did for my pedigree copy of Detective 350.
Damn you, Doug! Damn you all to hell!
So at the very end, as we always wind up doing for everybody that participates here, I want you to go ahead and promote yourself. But first, let's find that banner. There you go. How about we start with Comics on the Mind? Go ahead and promote yourself.
I know I've been saying this for like 2 weeks, but finally we're going to be doing Oprah Boys tomorrow with the Conquistadorks, Javi. Tomorrow we're going to be reviewing one DC book, one Marvel book, and one Image book. So if you got time, it'll probably be around 8 Eastern time. That's like 6 my time, so it's perfect for me.
That's
so
about
you guys,
5 your time.
5 my time. Thank you. Oh, I'm going to go to sleep.
Don't start until an hour late.
Get tired.
I would do that shit.
Yeah. So if you guys got time, please come check us out. I'll promote it tomorrow, definitely. Besides that, I don't have anything else planned. Excuse me. I don't have anything else planned. Yeah. But I'll definitely be in the chats. I always, even if I'm lurking or in there, you guys will see me. So.
Next up, we got Miracleman. Go ahead and promote yourself. I know you're on a Twitter ban, so once you finally get that lifted, what's going on with you?
I mean, once that's done, I'll just be back there fighting with chuds. So and talking comics. So if you want to come by and talk comics and or join me in fighting with chuds, please feel free. If you are a chud,
go away
and never come back. I mean, watch the show all you want. Just don't bother me on Twitter because I got enough chuds to deal with on there.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody, I can't remember who it was, go, yeah, I signed off for all of maybe a night, and I come back, and this guy has tweeted at me 25. It was Robert Sheridan. If you're watching this on the replay, Robert Sheridan, I read your post about that. This guy went to sleep, and when he came back the next morning, this guy was tweeting at him 25 times. I'm like, dude, this guy's probably only 12 years old.
Right. Yeah, Twitter is the definition of hell site. They have crap algorithm to protect their users that's constantly abused by bad faith actors. They have a serious problem with people who are perpetrating hate speech using their safety mechanisms against hate speech against their victims. By and large, they don't really seem to care. They only seem to care when it starts to get some press. So unfortunately, that's the case. It's a private company. I could always just leave and just not argue with idiots. But I like to talk comics, and Twitter's a great spot. It's how Rob and I met. It's how I met a lot of people in the greater comics community, and it's a really great resource to share the love of comics together. So
I'm going to give you one word, and just like from the movie The Graduate, plastics. Wait, no, that's not it. Now forget it. We'll come back to me later.
Well, like I said, I'm not going anywhere.
Instagram. Instagram's the word.
Instagram. I might go over there. I got some friends who said, you should start posting your books over there. A lot more interaction with people over there. So I might do that.
Do it. We'll be able to talk more.
Well, I would have quite a long time. I would probably have to start on like one shelf and just start posting books. Like it would be quite the undertaking. But I might do it if I watch it.
Isn't here, but just to let everybody know that Lady Fantastic's Instagram is Caro_Syrup84, and watch out if she has any YouTube auctions. Don't know if there's going to really be much YouTube auctions or if people are going to be able to mail anything over the next couple weeks. But I did have here earlier that for my worst top 5 of March the 25th, hold on to your money. You'll be able to buy a bigger, better book or cheaper stuff later on. So that really is your tip of the week. And as far as me promoting myself, man, I do the same thing week in, week out. This is a YouTube show about comic books, as I tell you. Plus, we only do this show once every week. We do this every week at Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, whether there's a new comic book Wednesday or not. We're here for the community. We like opening this up to the community. This top 50 episode is an extra long episode that went about 3 hours on a Wednesday because, let's face it, it's Wednesday. Wait, no. Sorry, it's Thursday. You ain't got no job. You ain't got shit to do. Why not? We're going to be back here next Wednesday. Assuredly, it's going to be myself. It's going to be Kirk. It's going to be Comics on the Mind. That's his real name. His mama gave him that name.
You already know.
We also have Miracleman, not Mr. Miracleman, and Lady Fantastic, not Ms. Lady Fantastic, and myself, Rob Worst. I don't have an X-Men name because I would basically be Professor X, and I'd get killed, and then resurrected and be a lot thinner. Have you noticed that in X-Men lately?
A lot thinner. A lot thinner.
A lot thinner. I want to become thinner after I die. Phoenix the shit out of me.
Right.
So otherwise, go ahead and smash that like if you haven't already. Do sub each other up in the chat, as I hope you do, because this is the community, and being part of a community in this larger world. Wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart. Don't go back to the work for Wall Street and die for them. It's a bad idea. Don't listen to the government. Always question somebody in a suit, because usually they're a puppet. Advocating for somebody that has some money in their pockets that we largely do not. And subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. We will be back next Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Rob Worst. Thank you so very much for joining us. This is and has been Not Near Mint, episode 32. So, good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Stay safe.
Please stay safe.
Treat each other well.